I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves, in coffins?
Walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
How often do you see them?
Good morning, everybody. It's December 8th, 2023. I see dead people. We are indeed in the Matrix. We are in not just the Matrix, but the matrices. The matrices, the multiple matrices. Keep an eye on the audio for me today. The audio's been so shitty, I've almost felt like deleting shows after they're done because the audio is just so tragically shitty. Will you let me know if the audio turns to crap today? I'm checking it and throughout the show, but we're getting going this morning. This is a very inspiring song to me. I put the lyrics in the chat, and they're going to be on the screen, so you can read them if you want to. Called The Commander Thinks Aloud.
The sun, yay, yay. Put your jackets on. I feel we're being born. The Tropic of Capricorn is below.
Odin says good morning. Odin says good morning. Meow. Hello, Odin. Hello, Odin. Now, here's our friend Jesse Jet with our theme song, Powerless, because we are not powerless.
They'll gladly pay you by the hour for a minute or so you can sign off on the towers where they'll piss on your home. And if you feel like you're just powerless to answer them no, it's 'cause you are. They'll gladly pay you by the hour for a minute or so you can sign off on the towers where they'll piss on your home. And if you feel like you're just powerless to answer them no, it's 'cause you are. It's 'cause you are. They'll gladly stagnate a living wage, snap the chains, bury it. Labor slaves in rusty cages dragged behind a chariot, led by Mr. Racial Jungle, Joseph R. Iscariot, fighting over scraps as they barrage us all with variants and BuzzFeed clickbait, straight until we're paralyzed, trying to distract us from the concentration camps that Joe had swore he'd close but only chose to amplify, where they got 50-something kids in cages made for 5 to occupy. And no, she hasn't seen the camps, but Harris swears they're paradise. She tells us the facilities are safe, and that right down to the women, they are regularly sterilized. Then she throws her head back and she proceeds to laugh, that sort of heartless cackle you'd expect from someone working steadfastly on behalf of the virus and a Congress full of parasites. And where was I? I was busy cashing every blue check, demonstrating plainly all the narratives expected from the verified. I was busy breeding verbal leeches by the terabyte. Train them to exsanguinate the wealthy while they sleep at night. Bleed the oil barons dry and barren, say they showed us how to share and now we share alike. Tell them I contracted rabies from a feral mic. Now I'm just another species losing sleep to noise pollution and these glaring lights, forced to change its habits and adapt to just survive. But now it's safe to say that some of us are thriving in the moment, throwing shit on presidential homes beneath the Paris skies. So if you feel like you're just powerless, I guess you bought the lie. But I can tell they're petrified of our collective might, 'cause I can hear those gentrifiers weeping at the sight of our collective rights. And I only can imagine the intensifying fear of knowing revolution's near, and all that's left to do is simply wallow in the thick anticipation of a rapid bite. And baby, one day you can ask your leaders just what that was like before you grab a slice. So if you think you're powerless, allow me now to change your mind. Honey, if you think you're powerless, allow me now to change your mind. See, they'll pay you hourly, tax them each apart, and build a shining tower out of loopholes and cards, and tell you that you're powerless to keep you in the dark, because you aren't, because we aren't. You see, they'll pay you hourly, tax them each apart, and make you build a shining tower out of loopholes and cards, where they'll tell you that you're powerless to keep you in the dark, because you aren't, because we aren't.
back off. Why don't you should maybe explain what this song is.
I've never played this song with a chorus of beards before. I feel like a Civil War musician.
Any chance, Francis, we can get a little more light on Roderick back there? He's mysterious and all.
The Civil War musicians would be better dressed. And and last night I had my show costume on, and now I'm dressed like late Marlon Brando. All right. This is a song. A few years ago, we sent some astronauts into space, and they didn't make it all the way back. And this is a song about that. It's called The Commander Thinks Aloud. Sorry, that's important for the understanding. From here I can touch the sun. Yeah, yeah. Put your jackets on. I feel we're being born. The Tropic of Capricorn is below. Yeah, 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 yeah.
mobile phone camera?
I think it's mostly a phone.
It's not what they'd use on a music video, though.
Yeah, well, it's what we're using, isn't it? I mean, it's all I've got. It's taking good footage. You look good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are these supposed to be?
Those are just your function buttons for the robot.
They look like nipples.
Don't touch them. Like, I spent ages making these guys. It looks good. Now, let's just start again. It's all I had.
Well, it doesn't look like Daft Punk. We wanted ones like Daft Punk.
I don't know who he is. They're just robots from the future, right? Try not to walk so funky, Brett, because you're trying to make it less cool, more like, you know, electronic. Hide your neck, that's right. Okay.
The distant future, the distant future.
It is the distant future, the year 2000.
We are robots.
The world is very different ever since the robotic uprising of the mid-90s. There is no more unhappiness.
Affirmative.
We no longer say yes. Instead, we say affirmative.
Yes, affirmative.
Unless it's a more colloquial situation with a few robo-friends. There is only one kind of dance, the robot.
And the robo-boogie.
Oh yes, two kinds of dances.
Finally, robotic beings rule the world. The humans are dead. The humans are dead. We use poisonous gases, and we poison their asses. The humans are dead.
That's right, they are dead.
The humans are dead.
They look like they're dead.
It had to be done.
I'll just confirm that they're dead.
So that we could have fun.
Affirmative. I poked one, it was dead. It's just that I think she might be the one.
Sally?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
You just know. When it happens to you, you'll know.
You said Michelle was the one.
Yeah, she's the one.
You said Claire was the one.
Yeah, she's another one.
So you get more than one.
Some people are lucky. I've had a few ones.
So how many ones can you have?
5.
How many have you had?
3. How many have you had?
Just one.
Can't we just talk to the humans? A little understanding could make things better. Can't we talk to the humans and we're together now?
No, because they are dead.
Binary solo.
0000001 0000001 0000001 0000001 0000001
Come on, Sacro, link my battery. Robo Boogie. The humans are dead.
Once again without emotion,
the humans are dead.
I love that ending. Once again, without emotion. Once again, without emotion. The humans are dead. Affirmative. I poked one. It was dead. Affirmative. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Gallows humor is the best humor. Always has been. Always will be. I insist upon the fact that if I'm ever so fortunate as to be executed by a government, that I will laugh hysterically before they do it. Laugh hysterically. So, this is a new show. It's a new day. It's the war's on, humans versus AI. So this show in particular, if I remember correctly, is called Surviving AI with JTB, Come This Way If You Want to Live. And that's like, like a movie, like, hey, come this way if you want to live. So that's the point of the show. That's the point of the show. That's the point of the book that's coming out is This Way If You Want to Live. The book is about how to survive this, as is this show, about how to survive this with your consciousness and your brain and your community. That's how you're going to do it. I just told you the secret recipe. Don't tell Pedro I'm giving out secret recipes this morning. I just told you the secret recipe to survival, to human survival. Consciousness, peace, community, localization. That's the key to human survival. Have you not figured out that this global corporate orgy is just going to burn the world out and you with it? Are you waiting for the oligarchs that want you dead to save you? Please tell me you're not. Please tell me that you're not waiting for the people who predate upon you every second of your waking life to save you. Please tell me that's not the case. Affirmative. I poked one. It was dead. See, Americans think that we can spread arms to the across the planet, and that nothing's ever going to come home to roost. That it's never going to end up in us dying. Uh, it's just not the case. It's just not the case. We are not immune to the forces of global politics and war. And we're certainly not immune to it in a time of technology where now AI is probably more powerful than a nuclear weapon. That sucks, huh? It's pretty frightening. Pretty dang frightening to think that nuclear weapons, or the equivalent of a nuclear weapon, just sits in the hands of anyone with the knowledge to deploy cutting edge artificial intelligence technology. The key to fraud, the key to global app slavery, fraud, money laundering, labor laundering is just AI. Uber's not a real company. DoorDash is not a real company. Lyft's not a real company. These are illusions. These are corporate illusions. They invented a new category of corporation that didn't include humans. And they called it the gig economy, and we fell for it. Wow, are we stupid? We're, as a collectively, as a species, we are not bright. Now, it's also because we're also not conscious. We're not bright because we're not conscious. You can't be unconscious in a state of insanity, literally, and see clearly what's going on. One can only see what's really going on in the world if they're conscious and awake and paying attention, which is why when your head is buried in a slave phone, when your head's buried in your slave phone, you're not conscious. You're not conscious of the hours that you're spending working. You're not conscious of the opportunity cost. You're not conscious of what it's doing to you. You can't be. You can't give informed consent for this globally produced AI-driven hellscape that you work within, this literal matrix. You can't give consent for that because you can't understand it, and neither can I. And neither can any of the shysters that convinced you that they were players in the gig economy or that they were insiders or anything else. The only thing they were on the inside of is the flow of money. They were on the inside of the flow of money. It's a grift. It's all a grift. They created a community for you. They created news outlets for you. They created everything for you, an entire ecosystem that's just built around creating a social community of hot dog delivery people that would film themselves and think that they are product ambassadors, hot dog delivery product ambassadors, app slave product ambassadors. And so those people enrich themselves, but they had nothing to offer because they're just app slaves. They're slave ambassadors, and they don't want to admit it to themselves or anybody else, but that's all they are. There's only two options. You're either calling out the scam or you're part of the scam. There's no immunity now. You can't be a half Nazi. You can't be a half Nazi. If you're doing this fascist Nazi genocidal shit, which is corporate AI, just a pure fraud machine, you are a horrible person. If you are supporting this industry for anything but just your own personal survival, you're a horrible person, because this is toxic to humanity. Everybody knows it. If there's anybody that doesn't know it, it's because they're trapped smelling their own farts in the gig economy sewer, in the gig tuber sewer. They're smelling Steve Johnson's farts, and they're smelling the rideshare guy's farts, and they're smelling Kimmy Pants farts and Bree's farts. They're smelling all the farts, Sarah Elizabeth's farts. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm taking every order today. I'm doing an experiment today. I'm doing science. No, you're the lab rat. The lab rat ain't doing the science. You're a lab rat. You're all lab rats. Pedro's a lab rat. Pedro DoorDash Santos, the cousin of George Santos, the disgraced congressman. Pedro DoorDash Santos, he's a lab rat. They're all lab rats, man. Lab rats that were planted in your community with little crowns on. They put little crowns on the lab rats, and we're like, look, those are the king lab rats. Because that's how gullible we are in a social situation. Somebody tells us they have inside information and they name themselves after a dog shit corporation. Next thing you know, they're a damn community leader. They're a damn community leader. Damn pillar of the community. That's what they are. Pillar. Virtual pillar of the community. It is December 8th, 2023. It is 6:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'd make it 9:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Up and at it early this morning. Got a lot to do. Got lots of thoughts. We got lots of content too. Our friend Major Deliveries has been putting out some real good stuff, and I thought we'd take a look at a couple of his new videos. I'm spending much less time looking at the gig economy space because GigTube is dead. There's no reason to watch a whole bunch of bad actors at the end of their careers. So I'm not really watching anymore, but Major Deliveries and you guys all are watching a ton of it. And it's good because you guys got to clean this shit up. Let's take a look at what Major Deliveries over here is doing. But first, I want to have our little neighborhood sing along here. We love it. You love it. I love it. We're still doing it. This is Surviving AI with JTB. Come this way if you want to live. Let's sing a song together. Morning, everybody. Hopefully the sound will be in phase this time. YouTube was so bad that the sound was out of phase last time I did this. It was horrific. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be a neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be a neighbor? Good morning, neighbors. It does feel good to do that song. It does always feel good to do that lovely song from that nice man, Mr. Rogers. May he rest in peace. Let's check out what our friend Major Deliveries is doing over here. Here's the channel for Major Deliveries. We're going to put that up here, right there. It'll be on the screen there for you. Good morning, everybody. It is December 8th, 2023. Let's see. Videos. 3 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 1 day ago. Stick to the plan at hand, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Honest content. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do the one from 9 hours ago right here. We're going to do this one right here. This is Major Deliveries page. So 9 hours ago. Now Major Deliveries has 89 subscribers. He's more than doubled. If you have not gotten over there and subscribed to Major Deliveries, you're going to want to do it. He does great content, and I'm going to show you something right now. So we're going to do this one. DoorDash, Uber, the little old man who said, of course, the gig apps are manipulated and controlled. And then we're going to do the second one, creators dance around the truth. Because Major don't be dancing around any truth, and I appreciate that about you, Major. Good morning, everybody. Let's get into it. Here's Major Deliveries.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's our first order on film here. We're not going to take that. December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. 5:13 p.m., 2023. 1024, 9.6 miles, 18, 19 miles round trip. You can't gamble if there's a tip on there, you don't know. Got a trip radar, 2175. Was it 8 or 9 miles? Oh, I've missed 2 trip radars tonight. 2175, 12 miles, 2 deliveries, missed it again. And then you get this, 502, 10.4 miles. 4 hours in, 33 bucks. 862, 7.1 miles. Two orders, 14 bucks. I can't take that. I don't know if I mentioned this last night, but hang on. Well, there's your no tip order, because that's our base pay, $275. So there's your no tip order. There, we got a Grubhub, 1756, 9.3 miles. Decline this one. It's spinning. I gotta force stop it. So we're headed to pick up this is it Emperor's Palace? Yeah, on Grubhub. So, you know, I told a wise old man about these apps. A man who knew nothing about these apps. I might have mentioned this last night. He knew nothing of these apps. I go, yeah, these apps are controlled and manipulated. And you know what that old man said? Of course they are. This system, these gig apps, if they were done right and if they wanted to do it, they could allow us to prosper. They don't want us to prosper, folks. If you do these full time, you can't prosper. All right, so we're at Emperor's Palace. All right, so we have that order for Carol. Yep, the little old man who said, of course those apps are controlled. Why wouldn't they be? So there's where your arguments come in about misrepresentation of what kind of worker we are. Somebody's going to blow the whistle someday, an engineer or something like that, and is going to tell the world that it's all manipulated. And all these gig tubers are going to look like fools. I read a newspaper article in a little coastal town newspaper, and these delivery apps are destroying the grocery store business. So your little red card and DoorDash are, in these other delivery apps, they are destroying the grocery store business. Grocery store companies are merging and they're doing everything they can to keep it going, but it's hurting the grocery store business. Wanted whistleblowers to expose the truth of the gig economy and delivery apps. 675, 2.8 miles. No. Well, folks, you know, it's not even $1 a mile after you come back. All right, folks, 1150, 8.3 miles. Let's take it. And then I got an Uber coming in at the same time. I'm not going to take that because I don't dirty app. I got to turn it off. I hate to tell some of you, but these apps are not working with you or for you. They are working against you. I'm just saying the truth, folks. This could be a really prosperous system if they allowed it. They could really build these apps into a prosperous system if they wanted to. They don't want to. They don't want you prosperous. And so we picked up this meal. If you were a rich businessman and owned these and was part of a corporation or was a big wig who owned these big companies, and you had a lot of workers, of course you're not going to let them you're not going to allow them to get rich. Workers should be protected. They're not going to let you go full throttle on these apps every day, even if the market had the orders. $6.50 base, $5 tip. Interesting. If I get this trip radar, 1405. We'll see here. I've missed 3 trip radars tonight. That's not coincidental. 6 miles, 1318. No shills, no payday loans. But that's an honor for them to sell payday loans. Sell payday loans to a community that's being held back. It is not being allowed to grow. Quite honorable to do that. All right, folks, 1675, 11.8 miles. I unassigned that Grubhub, and about 10-15 minutes later, I get an order that's $3 higher. All right, we just picked up that Applebee's order for Brianna. Let's go. The little old man who said, of course, the gig apps are controlled. All right, folks, we're dropping off this Applebee's up the stairs. No porch light. 275 base, 14 tip, 1675. 875, 8 miles. Yeah, they're not working with me tonight. Nope. They did. Nope. They're not working with me. Here we are at the teriyaki place. Teriyaki and Italian food at night. Those seem to be the hot spots. All right, we got that teriyaki order. Let's go drop it off. All right, 3 miles until drop off. It was $10 offer, 3 miles. Let's do it. All right, everyone. Stay true to who you are and don't be somebody you're not. I hope everyone has a good night and a good day. You all take care. Thanks.
Well, thanks, Major. That was excellent. Now we're going to jump over to our friend Fats Valley here, who is with us in the chat. We're going to give a likey poo over to that, and we're going to watch Fats Valley's 2-minute video here about DoorDash removing the option. So this is the game that we play. This is why no legislator, no union, nothing can ever change a gig app. Nothing can ever change a gig app because it's artificial intelligence that can neither be understood nor explained. And that means it also can't be audited. So there are no rules. It's playing a infinite game of whack-a-mole. It's an infinite game of whack-a-mole in which no matter what you do to attempt to rein them in, there's another way that the artificial intelligence can exploit the system and exploit the humans. There is no way for a human to protect themselves from this type of artificial intelligence. There is no way for a human to be independent when facing this type of artificial intelligence. It is literally impossible to be independent if you're playing a game of Grand Theft Auto. You're playing in a virtual world. You're playing in a virtual world where the only rules are the rules of the game. There's no gravity. There's no laws. Nobody's going to audit it to see if it's fair. That's the game that you are playing. That is literally the game that you're playing with Grand Theft Human, with the gig apps. They are designed to exploit you. They were designed to disaggregate the market, to break the market apart so that consumers and slaves, you, us, me, and retailers, particularly local retailers, would lose all connections to each other and would lose all community except in this virtual world, except in this virtual game that this dog shit game called gig apps that they gave you. And all the gig apps are the same, right? They're all the same game. Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, they're all the same game. And so they gave you this con without your informed consent, without telling you it was AI. They told you that, that you have a little decision tree that you can make inside the game, right? You're playing the game just like you're playing Grand Theft Auto. So you think you've got some level of control, but of course you have no control at all. It's just a game. It's just a simulated universe in which you're acting as a game character. Just because you're doing it in real life and delivering hot dogs or driving somebody around doesn't mean you're not a game piece in their game. Because humans are nothing but expenses in the world of gig app fraud. Gig app is pure fraud because it allowed the corporations to do business without humans. That was setting us up for the AI. Well, how can you do business without humans? Well, you got to manage it with artificial intelligence. And once you can manage it with artificial intelligence, you have this scalability that's unlimited. Humans are the limiting factor. That's why I'm saying you're the one being solved. You're being solved. Humans are the limiting factor. we're the limiting factor between corporations having unlimited control of the earth and wealth and not, right? We're the ones that spoil the oligarch party. They want us gone. So let's see what Fats Valley has to say here. Thank you, friend Fats Valley. I think I got it queued up here. Let's see if it actually works. Shit. Okay, it kind of did, kind of didn't. But oh yeah, that's right. I was having problems with the computing that was not giving me a. Here you go. This is excuse me. This is Fats Valley here. Here we go, my friend. Thank you.
Oh no! From Business Insider, DoorDash and Uber Eats removed the option to tip when placing your order in New York City and added a new extra fee. Oh no, this is bigly bad for Dashers. Or is it really? Yes, you are correct. In response to a new law in New York City that requires app-based food delivery services to pay workers at least $17.96 an hour before tips, DoorDash and Uber Eats have made changes to their tipping policies. Now, customers in New York City can only tip their delivery driver after their order has been picked up or completed. I guess that means you have to knock on the door and hand them the tip. This change is likely a reaction to the new wage rules and other regulations affecting those companies in New York City. Summary: DoorDash and Uber Eats have removed the option to tip when placing an order in New York City and added a new extra fee, likely in response to new wage rules and regulations in the city. Guys, this is bigly bad. This is bigly bad. Or is it? I don't know, you guys. Tell me what you think. Are you a Dasher in New York City? Are you driving for Uber Eats? What are you doing? Are you a gigger in New York City? Tell me what you're doing as a gigger in New York City. Are you dashing? How do you feel about this new thing that they got going on?
Thanks to Mr. Fats Valley. We're going to go and watch a little bit of, we're going to watch the next major deliveries because these are real good. Thank you again, Major, for doing this. Keep in mind, the only reason this scam works, the only reason the DoorDash and Uber Eats scam and collusion works is because the government has approved us being exploited and depopulated, right? It only works because there's a monopoly. If anybody else comes in with a gamblified, rigged game like DoorDash or Uber, they can't work. And that's why DoorDash and Uber are going to have to crash, is because governments around the world are realizing this is not containable technology. It only works in a monopoly. It only works in a monopoly where you've got app slaves and contained people. If you allow other peoples to do it, if you allow, for example, with AI, let's say that AI has the power You can just have AI design your own gig app. You can have AI design and code your own gig app. Well, if everybody has their own gig app, you could just run your own organizations of app slaves, couldn't you? It's pretty obscenely crazy when you get down to it, because again, it is just pure fraud. Now check this out. This is an ad, and I find this very interesting. It's like I can't make this come up on my computer. It's like it only comes up on TikTok on my phone. So I don't know if some of their things like don't have a URL for anything outside of TikTok, but that would probably make sense. Let me see if I can show this to you in some relatively elegant way. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if we can turn down the light on my computer a little bit. Now let's see if I can show this to you. Because the advertising for AI now is totally dystopic. Watch this.
Secret iPhone trick nobody knows about. I just found out that you can add a keyboard that's powered by ChatGPT. Okay, I'm leaving now.
Wait. See, these apps are so fucking funky.
Secret iPhone trick nobody knows about. I just found out that you can add a keyboard that's powered by ChatGPT directly to your phone, and it's changing my life. There is so much that it can do, including changing the tone of messages, and changing spelling and grammar so you don't get embarrassed by typos. It can even translate your messages to a different language without having to copy and paste. I'm always looking for ways to make my life easier, so between the automatic replies and everything else it offers, this has to be one of the best tools I have on my phone. Tap the screen now to try for yourself. Secret iPhone trick nobody knows about. I just found out that you can add a keyboard that's powered by ChatGPT directly to your phone, and it's changing my life. There is so much that it can do, including changing the tone of messages and check for spelling and grammar so you don't get embarrassed by typos. It can even
Changing the tone of messages. So AI is now tone policing your messages. Oh, that's going to go well. Hey, my tone police is AI. That's going to go real well. That's real fucking weird. Now, listen, did you hear all the things this thing can do, right? So now this lady's AI is going to be so efficient it's going to translate to 8 different languages without her. It's going to reply without her. It's going to tone police her and fix everything. So is it her at all? Is it even her that's communicating, or is it just her AI talking to somebody else? And if they're using AI like she's using AI, won't her AI just be communicating with their AI? Isn't it, when we leave the humans out, doesn't it just become an AI war? So here's the thing. So if this is a great analogy, I don't know if anybody's made this analogy before. Maybe I'm a genius this morning. Maybe I'm a fucking genius this morning. Think of this. Let's figure out, maybe I'm a genius this morning. That'd be great if that happened. Think of this. Okay. Chess has solved, computers have solved chess. Artificial intelligence solved chess. Chess is a mathematical game. It has only a certain number of moves. There are a limited number of chess moves. Artificial intelligence solved them all of them. So no human can beat artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence can play every game out in simulations ahead to make moves no human would ever come up with. Ever, ever, ever. Now, since no human can ever beat the chess computer, are the World Chess Championships over? Do we close the World Chess Championships and say, hey, it's been great, humanity, chess is now a computer game? And if we did that, would it now be my AI computer against your AI computer? Good morning, Bigfoot Dasher. And so, Bigfoot Dasher, check this one out. I hope your wife's feeling better. I hope Mrs. Bigfoot is feeling better, Bigfoot. Good morning, Thunder. Think about this. If my AI chess computer is now playing your AI chess computer, and they've both solved chess, is it just a game of tic-tac-toe? Is it now just a game of tic-tac-toe? Is everything just a game of tic-tac-toe now, because the mystery of the game has been removed from humanity and moved to artificial intelligence? This is what people fail to think about with artificial intelligence. Is there is no end game with artificial intelligence. other than the replacement of the human beings that used to be significant. And if you replace the human beings with human-like outputs that are superior, then you don't need all those humans anymore. And what are all of us supposed to do when we're no longer needed, which is pretty much now? Jobs are closing down. Middle-class jobs are closing down. High-level jobs are closing down. Government jobs are closing down. All of these things are happening simultaneously. Where are all these people going to be employed? Are they going to come to the gig economy and join us in app slavery? I don't think that's going to work very well. What do we got here? Business Insider from yesterday. Of Florida. There you go. Look at that. There's a guy. A Florida Gen Xer started driving for DoorDash after his business shuttered. He shares two tips for increasing your earnings on the app. Okay, this is December 6, 2023. This is 2 days ago. Is that legitimate news, or is that just propaganda from Business Insider? Well, that's just paid advertising from Business Insider, advertising for app slaves in the economy. Because no man who has ever run his own business is going to want a fucking DoorDash. DoorDash is dog shit. DoorDash is a dog shit forced gambling app that is pure fraud. And see, if this wasn't true, wouldn't they be able to sue me? Wouldn't they be able to come sue me if everything I wasn't telling you, if everything I was telling you wasn't true? But they can't. They can't. They can't sue anybody. They can't do anything. DoorDash will do nothing to protect their image because they're winning. They don't care. They know we know. We know they know we know. The government knows. Everybody knows you've been sold out. This is the problem. This is why you got to stand up. Nobody's come to save you. Your ass has been sold out. 100%. 100% your ass has been sold out. Any law that's made, as long as these gig apps exist, they can go around it. There's no pay system. There's no protecting you. Gig apps are pure fraud. Any business that runs solely on an isolated app does so because it's fraud. If it wasn't fraud, it would be transparent and it would be open to everyone. If it wasn't fraud, any application that employs humans would have to be open source and transparent, or it's pure fraud. We know this now. This is just a gambling tool. This is a slave tool and a gambling tool. Every app is put on here to manipulate and monitor you. The government, this came out yesterday, the government gets all of our Google and Yahoo and everything, all of our notifications, they're collecting them. You have no privacy. If you're banking on this, if you're working on this, you have no privacy and no safety. AI can crack any code you got. You're already in the matrix. They're already denying you healthcare. They will deny you insurance. They will know that you're a gig worker, whether you tell them or not. They know everything, and you're giving it to them with the slave phone. We're going to have to get rid of this and get rid of the other thing. And there's a whole bunch of countries and a whole bunch of places in the world that want to make new phones that are not tied to the US government and fascism. And so, we'll survive. We'll just have to get a different kind of phone. We'll have to get phones that aren't hacked by the US government by default. And it probably won't have apps and it won't have technology, because apps are fraud, right? Apps were created to deceive people for the most part. Yeah, there's some games and convenience, but even the freemium apps, right? It was a way to walk people in to monetizing technology, but they didn't monetize it with integrity and transparency. They monetized it with fraud and AI, and they did it without your consent. Yeah, Mr. Fats Valley says the only way we could afford to work for the New York minimum wage, or even for $20, is if the government pays their rent, and that's absolutely right. But that's all of us, right? That's why we can't do it. That's why this is app slavery. It doesn't even meet our minimum living standards. It doesn't meet enough of the living standard to keep us housed or fed, and the government is not stepping in with the safety net. There is no unemployment system for us. There is no occupational health and safety for us. There are no wage and hourly protections for us. There's no protections for us. There's no protections. Is anybody in this chat really telling me they want to work for the largest corporations on the planet Earth and billionaires and oligarchs with no protections? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't, Thunder, you're always welcome on here. And if you make a date with me or something, I could maybe try and come on. I don't have time to go on a lot of other shows right now. I know Torp wanted to talk to me or something. I'm on every morning. I'm real busy right now, trying to keep things rolling, but I'm always happy to talk. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day. Let's watch some more of Major Deliveries here. This is 3 hours ago. This is, he always gives very good descriptive titles. This is creators dancing around the truth. Everyone knows it's AI manipulation. Don't lose your bottom line. Yeah, this is like wartime now. This is wartime. I'm real serious about how things are going. I don't figure that I'll necessarily be alive very, very, very long, for multiple reasons. But most importantly is I think I don't. Yeah, we got a lot of threats. We got a lot of threats to our existence right now, and I'm old. This is not the time to be afraid. This is not the time to be afraid anymore. There is no time left for fear. Just time for action.
There would be.
YouTube sucks so much. It's like I want to get it to the start. It always wants to start or jump to where I was before. When I do want it to jump to where I was before, then it doesn't. Let's go with Major. I got this all queued up here. Major Deliveries, creators dancing around the truth. Everyone knows it's AI manipulation. Don't lose your bottom line. This is from 4 hours ago. Today is December 8th, 2023, 7:31 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's our friend, Major Deliveries.
Welcome, everyone. It is December 7th, 12:08. No, December 8th, 12:08 a.m. We got content creators out here dancing around the truth. So for the week, I'm at 30 hours right now. 30 hours right now I'm at. Took Monday off. Tuesday, 10 hours, $240. Wednesday, 10 hours, $200. Today, 30 hours, $160. 240, 200, 160, $600. 30 hours, $20 an hour. It doesn't matter how you get there. It's continuous. It's week after week, year after year. The gig apps are controlled and manipulated. We got content creators out here dancing around the subject, avoiding people, running scared, afraid to lose their bottom line if they say anything, afraid of the apps, afraid to say something, afraid to expose the truth. We got the most ridiculous stuff on YouTube now. DoorDash's newest scam. Whatever. That's not enough, buddy. Come clean. Tell the world what this is. Oh, do you take peak pay when it's a no-tip order? That's not good enough. We got issues at hand here. Tell the community what this is. Why are you so scared? Why are people so scared? There's reports all over the country of what's going on. Everybody knows what this is. But you got the continuous few afraid to give up their bottom line because they've made a living out of misrepresenting people, misleading people. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub is controlled by an artificial intelligence. It's controlled by corporate AI. There is no way around it to beat it. There is no way to manipulate it. There are no tips and tricks. There are no red card recipes. DoorDash's newest scam. Now, why don't you come clean and tell the world what this is? Everybody knows. You could be a hero. Somebody could really be a hero. But everybody just continues to turn their head on what this is. It's an AI controlled, manipulated system. And if you're a good driver or a knowledgeable driver, you're capped and throttled, and you cannot prosper. You cannot prosper on this system. There is no gig content you can do anymore. There's nothing you can do anymore. It's exposed. The gig apps are exposed. And you know what's sad on this YouTube space? There are some good guys out here that are truthful. The truthful ones don't grow. There's some that have 1,000 or a few thousand. But the bigger the lies, the bigger the subscribership. And that's unfortunate, and it's really sad, and it's backwards. But boy, you'd get a lot more respect if you would just come clean and instead of dancing around the subject. There was one content creator who actually had enough courage to say that when he sits for a half hour and then the orders start coming in. Well, that's a lot more than anybody else has ever said. It's really ridiculous. Oh, DoorDash made me take every order. I mean, is that what we have to do to keep people entertained? Are you kidding me? Wouldn't you rather just come clean and be over with it and feel better about yourself instead of continually not being honest with what you're doing? That's just not one person, that's several people out here. We got $1,000 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, making $1,000. We got $400 days, $50 an hour. Man, none of that stuff is true. And it's misleading the public and misleading innocent individuals that are looking to do this. It's really time somebody comes clean. $7. 2 orders. No thanks. Well, what's going to happen is somebody's going to come out and blow the whistle on one of these companies. An engineer is going to get PO'd. And he's going to come out and expose this whole thing. Maybe that will be the thing that puts the dagger in this. Puts the dagger in the YouTube, DoorDash content creation thing. Comes out here and blows the whistle and exposes the truth. That there were no tips and tricks. There were no secret recipes or any of that. It didn't matter what you do. It's like putting 2 magnets together. It won't go together. I can't wait till the day that somebody does that. You know, if a person wants to make a few bucks, this is great, you know, or work at a few hours, you know, that's fine. But to draw people in, that's not good. On false thumbnails, no. You know, there would be, and it could be stopped. There would be no controversy or nothing for any of these creators to do if the company came out and said, hey, it's just a flat 18 or 20 bucks an hour. You know, I hope they do. I hope there comes a day where the company comes out and says, hey, it's just a flat $18 an hour, and that would solve all this controversy and this misleading information. The whole companies have been built around where you can't get an answer from one person to the next. But the truth is coming out. Drivers are starting to realize and starting to notice what's going on. There's reports all over the country of the same earnings. I hope you all have a good night and a good day.
Nice job, as always, Major Delivery. So here's the problem, friends. The problem is it's pure fraud. Whether you do it for 1 hour, whether you do it for 12 hours, whether you do it for 60 hours, it's pure fraud. DoorDash is pure fraud. Uber is pure fraud. It's just AI manipulation of markets, disaggregation of markets, hiding of information, obscuring of transparency for the purposes of fraud. That's all it is. That's why none of these companies have ever defended their business practices in court, because they can't. They can't. The only thing they've ever defended is they play around with like wages and stuff, because they know that's a game of whack-a-mole, of infinite whack-a-mole. That you can't legislate black box AI. That's called impossible. Impossible. And so instead of recognizing the impossibility of what they're trying to do, these gig app creators and the gig tubers just continue to wave their hands around in the air for activity, because every second the scam goes on, they get richer. And they know this is going to end. So Uber is trying to go public in the next few weeks. Uber's allegedly going public. Well, this is an amazing scam, because this is complete fraud. If the markets let Uber go public with global AI fraud in this new public offering, you know that it's over, because here's the thing. There can only be one, right? There can only be one monopolist in these different markets, or the system fails to function. Now they are colluding together. Uber Eats and DoorDash are colluding together in New York. We just saw that, right? Uber Eats and DoorDash and Uber and Lyft and Grubhub all collude together in this app slavery market because they're all running the same AI con, right? They're all running the same con. It's all part of the same AI system, which is all housed on your slave phone here. This slave phone tells them everything about you, every app that you're using, everywhere you go, everything that you do, how you operate, how you drive, where you are, how much money you have, what the battery level on your phone is, if you're a consumer, if you're an app slave. It knows everything about you. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of data points about you at all times. You can't beat it. It's a gamblified, rigged game that hacks your consciousness. You're not conscious when you're on this thing because you're playing Grand Theft Human. You're playing Grand Theft Human. So the problem is, what's the safe amount of time to play Grand Theft Human? 0 hours. That's the problem with my friend Major's assessment there at the end. The number of hours that it's safe to be an app slave are 0, because you have no worker protection, no human protection, no wage protection, no job protection, and you are working for a global app slavery cartel. So you have 0% of the time is it safe to work for a gig app. 0% of the time is it safe to be on your slave phone. I'm getting rid of my slave phone in the coming days. Literally, I will have no phone anymore. I will only have, I guess I'll get maybe one of them burner phones or something occasionally or something, but I'll just have my desktop, or I'll get, hopefully get another laptop computer, but I will not be isolated and spied on by my device, because this thing's listening to you too. This thing's listening to you. It's monitoring you. It's doing everything. There is literally no way to protect yourself from this device. You got it crammed so far up your ass and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. And these guys are going to deny you wages and healthcare and jobs to the point of death. That's what these guys do. What a great device. What a great invention we came up with. Oh yeah, this Jeff Green guy, right? This guy. So Business Insider. Now this is obviously an advertorial. A Florida Gen Xer started driving for DoorDash after his business shuttered. He shares 2 tips for increasing your earnings on the app. Jeff Green, 55. Well, that's ironic. I'm Jeff Black, 55. He's Jeff Green, 55. Was forced to close his business earlier this year. He's driving for DoorDash to pay the bills while he figures out the next phase of his career. There is no next phase of your career if you're 55 working for DoorDash. You're dead, man. Take my word for it. You're talking to one. He said his platinum driver status has been key to boosting his income. So this is shameful. This is global fraud, right? This is global fraud. This is supporting the same. This is global fraud. This is the same supporting information that enables the Pedro DoorDash Santos fraud, right? George Santos's cousin, Pedro DoorDash Santos, does the same fraud. It's just a lie. It's just a lie. He says his platinum driver status has been key to boosting his income. Well, does he say that? That's fascinating. That's not news. That's fucking advertorial. And you can bet, you know, this is the dog shit that gets told to the public. And so they think, well, gee, you know, DoorDash can't be that bad. This guy's business shut down. He's 55 and he's paying the bills doing DoorDash. Well, DoorDash must be swell. DoorDash must be swell. No, it's not swell. It's dog shit. It's dog shit. Good morning, Glitch Dash. Yeah, slow as molasses here today. The cabal's taking us out, Glitch Dash. They don't give a fuck anymore. It ain't never getting better. It's only going the other way. Yeah, gas ain't getting any cheaper. Look, inflation helps the gig app scam and takes us out. You think corporations didn't know inflation was going to go dog shit before they gave us all their expenses? so that we feel the brunt of the inflation that the corporations are driving with their price gouging? I mean, come on. Come on. There's nobody, even Pedro's not stupid enough to believe his own bullshit anymore. Even Pedro's not stupid enough to believe his own bullshit anymore. These are global scams. And all we need to know, if they let, I'm calling them out. I'm calling out the United States of America and the Labor Department. You motherfuckers. If you let Uber go public, we know you paid everybody off because Uber's a pure scam. There's fucking TV shows on it now. It's just a fucking con job. It's corporate AI. There's no way to fix it. There's no way to manipulate it. There's no way to legislate it. Stop lying to people. You let these fuckers go public, you're opening Pandora's box. You're letting a rigged, gamblified slave app go public. Bunch of fucking Nazis, bunch of fucking people doing human testing without permission. Dr. Mengele's in the house. Dara Karszewski, or whatever the fuck his stupid name is, and Tony Shu, whatever the stupid fuck his name is, and David Risher, all these fucking Nazis, these genocidal Nazis, fucking making themselves billions of dollars while we get set up for genocide. They deny our very existence. Then they're going to replace us. They're going to replace our cars. They're going to tell us we can't drive our cars anymore. They could decapitate us. We have no human rights, no training, no occupational health and safety. A number of people, including our friend Hollywood G in this community, have fallen seriously ill lately. Hollywood G, if you don't know that gentleman, he goes on to Necro's Lounge and with Ricky and Necro. He's an immigrant here to the United States, a dreamer, if you will, who was allowed to stay here by the DREAM Act that allowed people that came here as children but didn't get citizenship status to stay here and get status rather than be sent back to their countries of origin where they had not lived since they were children. So anyway, Hollywood G just had a brain tumor that almost killed him, and he's been in the hospital for about a month, and he's going to be going home. He doesn't have any health insurance. He doesn't have any occupational health and safety. He doesn't have any type of support that an employer would give. If you injure yourself like I did driving, like if you injure your hip getting in and out of your sedan 100 times a day because you're getting old and you injure your hip and you can't walk anymore, nobody's going to protect you. These companies are just burning you out, burning your car out, burning you out, burning the economy out. You're just expendable fuel, man. And they're pure fraud machines. Pure fraud machines. There's nothing legitimate about DoorDash or Uber Eats or Lyft or Uber. There's nothing that can be fixed. It's black box AI. I've been telling you this for a year, but I've been the conspiracy theories. Now it's not even now, as Major says, as Glitch Dash says, as Mr. Fats Valley says, as everybody knows, this is an unsurvivable Ponzi scheme, and we're just the rubes. So stop being a rube today. The show is called Surviving AI with JTB. Come this way if you want to live. That's because my goal in this project, including the book, Full Disclosure, is to give you an opportunity to survive. That's what I write about, is how to survive in this coming attempted genocide, because I've been seeing it, watching it, predicting it for years. I see dead people. I do see dead people. I don't want those dead people to be you. I badly do not want you to be those dead people. I want to see my friends and family live and survive, and the human race live and survive. And that's going to be dependent upon you. You are the heroes. If you're wondering who's coming to save you, go look in the mirror. You are coming to save you. Why? Because you have no choice. You have nowhere to run. You have nowhere to hide. You are slated for genocide if you are a gig worker. If you are listening to this, they are rubbing you out. Look, they're cutting middle-class jobs. They're cutting tech jobs. They're cutting government jobs. There's going to be more unemployed people floating around desperate for work than you can shake a stick at. And human labor is going down to a value of somewhere around zero. It's going to be my AI. If they have their way, it's going to be my company's AI talking to your company's AI, and we're making passive income in our bunkers while humanity starves to death or gets nuked or commits genocide against each other, or whatever other dystopic plan they have for us as the American empire comes crashing down along with our money supply and our security and our borders. There are no borders with AI, right? Here's the problem. with AI and with robotics and everything else, you can run delivery vehicles in San Jose from China. You can run delivery vehicles in Ohio from Australia. You can run app slavery scams in Kenya from France. You can run app slavery scams in Bulgaria from San Jose. There is no way to protect humanity from rigged, gamified games that are simulations, right? It's hard enough to have a true market mechanism of human beings exchanging value, but that's not what we have anymore. What we have is governments and AI rigging systems against you. So these are games you can't win. The American dream is a lie. You cannot. It is not humanly possible to work enough gig hours to ever be anything but in poverty. It's not humanly possible. There is no economy in which any amount of work that you do will pay off. If you can work 100 hours a week and make $100,000 a year, you are a miserable slave, whether you know it or not. You're unconscious. If you're serving AI 100 hours a week, your brain's turned off. You're a fucking zombie. I feel a great pity for your soul. Now, some people don't want to think, right? Some people want to check out with the Soylent Green and just be dead inside and not have to feel pain anymore. But there's other ways to do that. There's other ways that's called consciousness, right? If you become conscious and you realize it's not about possessions or money or status or YouTube views or anything else, then you can step away from that pain and evolve as a humanity with peace and transparency and integrity and community. But no corporation will ever give you peace, transparency, or community. They won't even give you jobs anymore. They don't even give you jobs anymore. And they're taking your peace, your transparency, and your community away. And then they took your jobs away too. That's a bad deal. Those corporations got to go. Those are predators. Those are just predators. We got to kick them out of our country. They got to fucking go. It's them or us. Yep, exactly, Glitch Dash. I ain't doing their dystopia either. I'm not getting in the line for the bolt to the head. I'm not getting in the slaughter chute. They're gonna have to kill me first. They're gonna have to kill me first. I'm not drinking their roach milk. Ain't eating no Soylent Green people. Even though Glitch Dash looks fucking delicious. Glitch Dash looks like he might be like cherry flavored or orange flavored or some kind of cherry orange combination. He looks fucking delicious. But I'm still not eating any Soylent Glitch Dash. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. But that's what they got planned for you. There is no way back. There was no way back at the start of the pandemic, which was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. There was no way back at that point, and I told you that. The economy wasn't coming back, and it hasn't come back. Because the corporations and the oligarchs picked up their stuff and went home. They gave up on us. Yeah, your wife thinks so. Glitch Dash, I bet you got a refrigerator full of pineapple juice. I bet you, Glitch Dash, got a refrigerator full of pineapple juice. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. A refrigerator full of pineapple juice. I'm going to show you something again. I've got to think what it is. This is what I want to show you again. This is a real great video. You got to watch this one. Let's see here. There we go. So here is something I wrote last March, almost a year ago, and this is true. So these are pictures here of Elizabeth, whatever her name is. This is Josh, whatever his name is. This is the WeWork guy, whatever his fucking name is. So these are the people on the front page of Fortune, or I'm sorry, of Forbes in this case, just like Tony Hsu and just like Dara Khosrowshahi and just like David Risher, on the front page of financial magazines. But here's what excuse me, here's what I told you. In my words, investment propaganda tells you what oligarchs want you to know, which is always too late and usually a scam. Always too late and usually a scam. Meanwhile, a corporatocracy hoards the wealth of the world, enslaving all but the elite members of society. Cannibalistic capitalism is the final phase of this empire. And so this video, there's something called the banality of evil, and that was linked to the Nazis, because people said, how could people stand by and watch other humans being exterminated and genocide and being dehumanized and being scapegoated? And so there became a term called the banality of evil, which is kind of the concept of how do people stand by and watch horrible things happen and do nothing about it. And so I wrote here, the banality of corporate AI. We're the suckers, that's us. We're the proletariat, that's us. We're the fuel, that's us, the burnable fuel. So this is a video that Truth Matters put out. If you're worried about ChatGPT, it's probably inadvisable to watch this. Welcome to Aladdin. So this is what I keep telling you. You're already being exploited by AI and you don't even know it. They stole your money supply. They stole your money supply. You're playing Monopoly, but all you have is moldy Cheetos. They got all the money. You can't win. It's not your game. You're not even at the same table.
What if I told you there is a robot that controls more wealth than any country on Earth? A robot so powerful that in the last 10 years, it has quietly created the biggest company in the world. This is the story of a robot called Aladdin. It's Wall Street's best kept secret, and it's gobbling up every asset class across every industry. Aladdin now controls $21 trillion of our global economy. To put that in perspective, that's more than the $20 trillion GDP of the US, or the $15 trillion GDP of the entire European Union. The New Statesman wrote, the total physical cash of all 7 billion people and every company, bank vault, wallet, and piggy bank in the world is around $5 trillion. Aladdin has grown into a system responsible for more than 4 times the value of all the money in the world. This one robot directs the actions of the US Federal Reserve, almost every major bank and investment fund on Wall Street, and over 17,000 traders. It controls half of all ETFs, 70% of the bond market, 10% of the global stock market, and carries out 250,000 trades every day and billions of forecasts every week. Year after year, it hoovers up trillions of data points on every market, every company, every asset, and now even each of us, what we buy, sell, and say, so that it knows what to buy and what to sell far better than any human being. Every major bank, company, and investment fund has come to rely on Aladdin and its all-powerful AI and algorithms to beat the market. And if they didn't, they've collapsed and failed in Aladdin's wake. And you know what the craziest part of this story is? This robot is just getting started. So where did Aladdin come from and how did it get so powerful? Aladdin is the brainchild of Larry Fink, the founder of BlackRock, and its total dominance has made his company the biggest shadow bank in the world and the most powerful company on Earth. The story you're about to hear is equally unbelievable and terrifying. In fact, you would think it was science fiction if it wasn't very real and happening today. This story starts in the 1980s when Larry Fink was making millions pioneering mortgage-backed securities at Wall Street Bank First Boston. That's right, the same mortgage-backed securities that caused the 2008 global financial crisis 20 years later. But back in the 80s, he was in an epic Wall Street rivalry with Louis Ranieri at Salomon Brothers, made famous as the big swinging dick in Michael Lewis's book Liar's Poker. Back then, Larry was making millions for the bank and was on track to be First Boston's CEO. And then in 1986, an error in the back office computer models led to Larry making the wrong trades and he lost the company $100 million. The result was Larry leaving the bank as a failure with a stupid computer to blame. With that experience, Larry had just one ambition: to build a super smart robot that could pick out risk and opportunity in the market and do it better than any computer or human could do. In 1988, he launched a new startup, BlackRock, with a tiny coding team to give birth to this robot. Its name, Aladdin, which stands for Asset, Liability, and Debt Derivative Investment Network. In its first 10 years, Aladdin was fed information about every asset, price movement, and risk variable in the global bond market, Larry's specialty. And in 1999, when Aladdin turned 11, Aladdin was getting so intelligent at picking losers and winners that Larry began selling access to his data to other Wall Street firms. That same year, he took BlackRock public on the New York Stock Exchange. Straight after the IPO, the dot-com bust burst, pushing a wall of money from the stock market to bonds, which Aladdin had become the undisputed world champion in. Within years, BlackRock had become $1 trillion company, and as money started shifting back to shares, what did Larry do? He bought the asset management arm of Merrill Lynch, which was focused to shares. So the gift for Aladdin's 18th birthday, all the data points for the entire stock market, and suddenly Aladdin had a new playground, analyzing every stock trade and risk factor for every company on the stock market. As a result, today BlackRock, together with his two closest rivals, Vanguard and State Street, both of which also rely on Aladdin's mountain of knowledge, have become the biggest shareholders of over 40% of all public listed companies in America. 2008, the global financial crisis hits, and before Aladdin turns 21 years old, is caught on by every Wall Street bank and Timothy Geithner, the head of the Federal Reserve and the US Treasury. As soon as Lehman Brothers collapsed and the Wall Street meltdown began, the US government came calling to save the next collapsing bank, Bear Stearns. It was Aladdin who decided which assets to keep and which to leave in the $30 billion rescue package. And few people know it was a robot that saved America from disaster. With that first success, the Fed, US government, and now even European and Japanese central banks began relying on Aladdin to make the calls on where the $2.5 trillion of new money they printed should go. The majority of it, bonds and funding to prop up the mortgage companies and banks. But wait, aren't these exactly the assets that Aladdin and BlackRock already were invested in? Exactly. But growing protests of conflict of interest were drowned out by the noise of the printing presses printing more money, as the assets controlled by Aladdin rapidly grew to $11 trillion by 2013. In the last decade, Aladdin has gone from the leader to the dominator of all financial markets. With BlackRock's Barclays acquisition, it got iShares, Barclays Exchange Traded Funds Units, or ETFs. And with that, Aladdin moved from dominator of bonds and equities to dominator of ETFs, just as all the biggest investors shifted from mutual funds to ETFs. And that's when, in 2017, everything changed. On Aladdin's 29th birthday, Larry launched a top-secret project at BlackRock, codenamed Monarch. It led to the firing of his fund managers and replacing their funds with Aladdin's funds. The robot was now eliminating humans from the equation altogether. And as a result, today over 70% of all trades on US stock markets are decided by robots, with Aladdin leading the way. These trades are completed from beginning to end without a human involved, in high-frequency trading far faster than a human can execute. Now, if this was just a story about a robot taking over the job of Wall Street traders, you might not be so concerned, unless you're one of those traders. But in the last 3 years, as Aladdin hit $20 trillion in assets, incredibly, it has begun to consume and control at an even faster rate. First, in 2020, as Aladdin turned 32 years old, the US government and Federal Reserve again came calling as the pandemic hit. Aladdin was again the one to guide the nation in what was now $4 trillion of newly printed money. Where did the money go this time? Inexplicably, for the first time, the Fed began buying ETFs in 2020. Well, that's a little strange. And again, the cries of conflict of interest were drowned out by the money printing. And then Aladdin revealed its endgame. Recently, BlackRock acquired eFront, which collects data on the things that you and I own, including private equity and real estate. And since then, Aladdin has consumed eFront's data on the entire global real estate market. And yep, you guess what happened next. Over the last 2 years, BlackRock and other funds using Aladdin's data have begun buying up single-family homes, where they can afford to outbid the rest of us as they have unlimited financing at hyper-low interest rates. The result is home prices rising by 20% over the last 2 years and pushing now even big players like Zillow out of the market. And here we see Aladdin's endgame, to be the one hyper-intelligent AI robot that not just controls Wall Street assets, but all assets, public and private. Now, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but even a skeptic with eyes wide open can see the signs. We're already at a point where no one can compete without Aladdin. As CEOs and asset managers like Anthony Malloy are now saying, Aladdin is like oxygen. Without it, we wouldn't be able to function. And what about government regulation? Well, Joe Biden has appointed BlackRock executive Brian Deese as head of the National Economic Council, which basically means the oversight of Aladdin and BlackRock is now the responsibility of BlackRock. And Biden has also appointed BlackRock Chief of Staff, Wally Adeyemo, to be Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, which means BlackRock is now the Treasury as well as the Treasury Advisor. And this story is far from over. The genie is out of the bottle. And Aladdin has already reached a tipping point where one robot controls more wealth than any person or country. But as Aladdin's AI capabilities continue to grow, and with its rate of control rising by another $1 trillion to $2 trillion in new assets every year, it looks inevitable that Wall Street's secret weapon could end up owning everything, and we end up owning nothing. So what do you think? Are you indifferent, surprised, angry, afraid, or have a different point of view? And if you found this interesting, if not a little alarming, before you go, do subscribe so I can keep you updated with more news on the exploits and adventures of Aladdin.
Well, isn't that exciting? No, it's not exciting. It's fucking terrifying. It's terrifying beyond human comprehension. If you're not terrified beyond comprehension, you are not paying attention. I mean, I'm not here to terrify you. It's not going to do you any good to be scared. You just need to be. Because at that level of consciousness, you'll be able to see the clear action. That's what consciousness brings you, is a clearer action. That's how I know I need to get rid of my cell phone. That's how I know what I need to write in the book for you. It's my consciousness tells me. This is a process more difficult than anything I've ever imagined, because it's literally my only personal Hail Mary pass to save to contribute to humanity for my children, is to give you guys this book, this podcast, whatever the fuck we're doing here. It doesn't even matter. Nothing matters. See, that's the thing. Nothing matters. This is how you know you're connected with this show, when you realize none of this matters. The only thing that matters is who we are inside our consciousness. And that's how we connect as a community. That's how we know we're one. That's how we know that war is wrong. That's how we know music is right. That's how we know love is right. That's how we know hate is wrong. That's how we know truth is right. There can be no company. There can be no legitimate business without truth and transparency. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. What world do these bastards think we live in, where we're going to continue as a human race without truth and transparency? And we're going to be slave to computers that lie to us and defraud us, that are part of corporations that lied to us and defraud us. Because you know who's not human? Corporations. You know what else isn't human? AI. You know what else isn't human? Computer hardware. You know what else isn't human? Electricity. None of it's human. We're human. They're not. We win. They lose. Fuck them. It's about us, not them. Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. Think about it. What man. Okay. I just made a decision. Good. I like it when I make decisions. Let's see. I'm thinking. I'm gonna put some music on for a minute. Love you guys. You guys are good. You guys are good. You're my heroes. It's gonna work. You guys are gonna make this happen. I do believe in you. I absolutely do believe in you.
let's swear that we will get with the times, current health to stay. Let's get friendship right, get life day to day. Forget your skate street, full of countervailing walls. It's the verses every scene, proceeding on a need to know. Face so full of meaning as to almost make it glow. For a good life, just might have to weaken and find somewhere to go. Go somewhere we need, find somewhere to grow. Go somewhere we need. When the color of the night and all the smoke in one line gives way to shaky movements and improvisational skill in a forest of whispering speakers. Let's swear that we will get with the time, in a current health to stay. And let's get friendship right, get life day to day. And forget your skate street, full of countervailing walls. As the verses ever seems, proceeding on a need to know. A face so full of meaning as to almost make it glow. For a good life, just might have to weaken, find somewhere to go. Go somewhere we need, find somewhere to grow. Go somewhere we need, find somewhere to go. Let's go somewhere we need, find somewhere to grow. Go where we are needed. Losing the forget your skate street. You can hang your head and walk. Most of us has ever seen. Know which way to go.
I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro. Sean.
Do you mean this one, the one with titanium?
So we're back. We're back. Great little musical interlude there from the Tragically Hip. Great Canadian band fronted by the late Gord Downie. Amazing, amazing musician and human being. We're going to, right now, introduce you to a man named Eckhart Tolle. We're going to start to function at a higher level of consciousness now in this show. And big part of it is this man who understands a great deal about living and taught me a great deal about living and surviving and consciousness. He will teach you much too. I think you will grow to love him as I do. not because he's a cult leader or he represents any specific religion, because he does not do either of those things. He represents human consciousness, and I think you will be fascinated. His name is Eckhart Tolle. Some people say Eckhart Tolle. I don't think he cares. It's about who this man is, and let's listen.
I may have mentioned before that one obstacle to meditation, especially for people who practice formal meditation regularly, they may not realize, although whatever method they use, whatever meditation practice they use may be good, potentially helpful, there tends to be, however, always an underlying unexpressed thought, feeling perhaps, that you are doing a meditation. So now you do many things every day, and one of the things you do is you're doing a meditation practice. I'm doing my meditation practice. But what is the aim of meditation? It's supposed to take you into a realization of being. Now we live in a culture, westernized culture, which is not confined to the geographical so-called West these days. The westernized culture is in many places of the globe. We are predominantly focused, or almost many people exclusively focused on doing. So it seems normal that you include, when you start meditating and even continue that practice, becomes part of the idea in your head that this is something that you have to do. There's a doing idea involved. Doing involves time. Doing has an aim. I'm here, I want to get there, or I'm doing this in order to achieve that. All doing involves time. So with the idea of doing comes the idea of time, that you need to get somewhere with your meditation practice. For example, I want to become enlightened, or maybe you're not as ambitious as that, and just I want to still my mind. Now, meditation is a practice that is meant to give you access to a particular state of consciousness. I call it presence. To help you realize that apart from doing, and of course doing is not just external doing, running around, or on the computer. Doing also is thinking. Every thought you think, you're doing something, you're doing, you're thinking. Meditation, the aim of meditation is to bring you to a realization of being. So to help you access another dimension within yourself. It's not thinking, and it's not to do with external activities. But you don't go to sleep either. So it's the realization of being, to become aware of your own presence, so to speak, of presence or your presence. These are just words. Right now, instead of thinking we're doing something, I would suggest that an alternative access point to the state of consciousness that is presence is to let go of all doing, or any idea that you have to get somewhere, improve yourself. There is a place for that exists on another dimension that also operates in your life, getting better at things and so on. But then there's something else where any kind of doing doesn't really help. If I'm not saying let go of all your meditation practices, if they're used correctly, they can take you into being also. But for many people, there's an underlying, continuously arising obstacle created by the idea that you're doing something and need to get somewhere. So instead of taking you into being, it just creates more doing. Being and doing, those two dimensions, need to be present, and it's not just meditation is there to help you access being. But in the rest of your life, which is most of your life, 98% of your life, even if you meditate a lot, 95% of your life is still something else. It's not the meditation. There needs to be a balance between being and doing, not as separate things, but coming together. And this is why here I'm not using any technique. And I just want to invite you to become aware of the fact that you are. I wouldn't say that you exist. Of course you exist. But exist, the word itself, comes from Latin. Ex means out. Exist means to stand out. Now that's your body exists, your psychological self with its conditioning and thought processes and emotions exists, it's there, it manifests. Whatever is manifested, not necessarily just through the senses, because the more important part of you can't see through the senses, that's invisible self, the psychological self, exists, stands out, is manifested. So it's not so much becoming aware of the fact that you exist, but becoming aware of the underlying being that gives rise to your existence. Something deeper. Becoming aware of yourself right now as I speak, of the essence of who you are, not as a physical body, not as a psychological entity with a past, a personality conditioned by the past. But is there anything deeper than your personality that's conditioned by the past, consists of all thought processes and emotions and opinions and viewpoints, likes and dislikes and so on and so on? Is there something else, something deeper, something without which all those other things could not manifest? Yes. You can't define it. You can't understand it. There's nothing to understand there. If you examine your historical self, your psychological self, then you may need understanding. You might need to go to a psychotherapist to figure out things that you had not been aware of your psychological self. But here, in that immediate realization of being, I am. There's no doubt about that there is a consciousness here. Prior to whatever arises in that consciousness, there is a presence, a consciousness. Even when I don't think in exact, it's only really when there's a moment of not thinking that I become aware of that consciousness that I am. I become aware of awareness, which is not how it is, it's just language. Awareness, which is who you are, consciousness, which is who you are, becomes aware of itself. There's no duality anymore. Can you feel yourself, your consciousness, your beingness, the I am, without adding anything to the I am, which would be your name, your age, your gender, your position in society, your knowledge, your memories. These are all things you add to I am. But I am is the essence. If you can sense that in your daily life, in the background, then you are always connected with being. You're rooted in that deeper dimension. And then all the comings and goings in your external life and all your doings may still be important, are still important, whether you gain something, you lose something, whether you're healthy or ill, rich or poor. But then there's always something deeper, and from that deeper dimension of beingness, where you can sense your essential reality as that, and not the psychological personality. That means you have found that which is of primary importance, and then you deal with all the things that are of relative or secondary importance, which is everything else in your life. So you are both who you are in this world, the person, the historical entity, the physical, psychological entity, yes, you are that, but more fundamentally, you are the consciousness without which the person would not even be. Would there even be a world without a consciousness perceiving the world? Molecules, atoms, and empty space make up this body, this room, everything, wherever you are, molecules, atoms, and mostly empty space. It's not a world at that level. It's not a room. And then consciousness comes and suddenly there's a world. But molecules and atoms themselves may also be just primordial manifestations of consciousness. And ultimately, humans will realize, first of all, through spirituality, through your own spiritual realization, at some point, perhaps even through science. We're not there yet. That all is consciousness, that the entire universe is an expression of the one consciousness, vibrating, so to speak, at different frequencies, from so-called inanimate matter to plant life, to animal life, to human life, and other dimensions of existence. In the same way that you can have water that can be solid, it's ice, seems to have nothing to do with water, it's very hard. And then water exists as a liquid. And water can also exist as vapor. The same thing, at least at different frequencies, one could say. In consciousness, this is just an analogy for consciousness. You are essentially consciousness. And then there's a temporary appearance of you as a person, and that's fine. That's part of miracle of manifested existence, where consciousness breaks up into countless streams. Coming all continuously from the one source. To realize yourself as consciousness, you need to become aware of the space between thoughts. When I stop speaking for brief moments, are you able to stay so present that you do not add any thought to this moment. You add nothing to it. There's just a sensation of, yes, there is still, if your eyes are open, you can still see the screen and can see me or the image of me and hear the words, or if your eyes are closed, you can still hear the words. But what else is there? Something deeper, more vital than whatever appears in your sense perceptions. Something without which there would be no sense perception. Oh. Yes. Just a stillness at first. A seeming nothingness. I like that English word, nothingness. The word nothing consists of no thing. An apparent no thingness when you're not thinking. And if you were in a place where it's very totally quiet, nobody is speaking, and your eyes are closed, you can become even more aware of the no thingness. It's just a presence, an underlying presence. It has nothing to do with who you are on the level of the person. No. Oh. An alive stillness.
Starting with a blank page can be overwhelming. Grammarly gives you a head start. Simply type a prompt to instantly generate an outline or brainstorm ideas. Download it for free at Grammarly.com.
Here's how to legally steal gasoline from gas stations. This programmer got fired from his job at a German car manufacturer after exposing a software bug in the fuel management system of all cars built after 1996. Christian worked in the ecology department, where his job was to make cars more environmentally friendly. But while working on ways to improve gas mileage, he discovered most cars were configured in a way that causes the engine to consume more fuel.
Well, that was kind of funny that the commercials that come on are so bizarre relative to what we're facing in the world, because anybody that actually knows what's going on in the world, when you compare it to the advertising, it's just a mismatch. And this idea of Grammarly, this idea of ChatGPT doing our communications for us. Well, if ChatGPT is doing the communication, how is it for me? I mean, if I write a letter to my dear friend, Mr. Fats Valley Vibe Show, and it's from AI, like, is that a very personal letter from me at all? If I just say, hey, send Mary Poppins a happy birthday message from me. Send my girlfriend a message that we're breaking up. Write my profile for my next job application. There's no job, so I don't know what good a Chat GPT written job application is going to be, and there's no jobs to do. It's going to replace lawyers. It's going to replace doctors for the masses. Like rich people will always have access to whatever hospitals and hey, Mary Poppins, do you ever want to come on the air and talk? I'd love for your point of view to be on here. If you ever would like to come on the air and talk, that's up to you. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but you are more than welcome. As are other friends who'd like to come on and talk at some point. This is the consciousness part of the show where we leave the stupidity of the gig tubers behind because we're past that now. We're no longer going to waste our time with gig tubers. Gig tubers are just a bunch of sellouts and shills. They're a waste of our time. But we do want to talk to real people about real things. And we will talk to real people about what's going on in the gig economy, corporate cabal, and global financial fraudulent scam. Let's see. I was going to share something with you here. That is not a video. Is other content. So this is one of the emails that I get. Let's see here. Make me smaller, make that bigger. Here's one of the emails I get. Let's put on the glass. Got glasses up here. Here's where you find your glasses right on top of your head. That's a good deal. It's a good deal when they're right up there. It's like I prepared for this moment. Let's see. I'm going to read. In this post, Jordan Burgess, co-founder and chief product officer at HumanLoop, discusses the techniques for going from an initial demo to a robust production-ready application and explains how tools like HumanLoop can help you get there. He covers best practices in prompt engineering, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, and fine-tuning. Let's dive in. You need to prioritize your LLMs to get from prototype to production. Those are LLMs we know on this show are large language models. So that's the model by which you train AI. And of course, there's no perfect data to train AI with. You train it on human data or potentially on other data, but there's anything you train it on, there's a data bias. How was that data collected? Where did it come from? Who does it represent? Was it collected honestly? Was it collected dishonestly? There's so many different questions about the data that goes into a large language model. Creating an impressive AI demo that works part of the time can be easy, but to get to production, you're always going to need to iterate and improve your LLM application's performance. So this goes back to, do glitches make it into production? No, there's no glitch. There's no glitch in an AI. There's no damn glitch in an AI. This is not an organic environment. This is not where Humpty Dumpty falls off a wall and then people either do or don't put Humpty Dumpty together again. This is not the real world. This is a game world. This is coding. This is software. This is Grand Theft Human. Okay. The three most common techniques for improving your application are prompt engineering, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, and fine-tuning. Prompt engineering, tailoring the prompts to guide the model's response. So they have all these different prompts that are going to guide the model to the next response, whatever it's going to take the target through. Retrieval augmented generation, enhancing the model's context understanding through external data. So improving the context understanding of what that would mean in human form, right? Because words don't have intrinsic meaning. They have meaning in the human when they're used with humans. When they're used in a document, it's just they're just coding, right? They're not words to a computer. It's just coding. Hey, no problem. How you doing, Stephen Arrow? Good to see you. Fine tuning, modifying the base model to better suit specific tasks. So again, they want an outcome. They're creating this model for an outcome. They're not creating this model so that the world happens. They're creating this model so that they're taking data and they're targeting an outcome. The outcome of GigApp artificial intelligence, the black box and artificial intelligence, that business model is just pure data exploitation of disaggregated data feeds. And so all a Dasher is a disaggregated data feed to an AI in a corporation. AI isn't human, corporations aren't human, and DoorDash in general employs very few humans, but it enslaves and exploits by the millions and billions. This is human horror, what is going on right here. The outcome is starvation. That's right, because when human labor goes to zero, we don't live in a society where there's a safety net, and when all the human job goes away, we're just going to be able to go to the grocery store. Like, if there's no money, what are you going to buy food with? If there's no money, what are you going to pay your bills with? Are you going to move out of your house and be homeless in a tent with everybody else when the government says, hey, give, or when your landlord says pay us and there ain't no money to pay a landlord with? Are you just going to go homeless? Those are the questions we have to ask each other, because that's what they have planned for us. You can't go anywhere in Portland where they're not people sleeping in tents on the street. You can't go anywhere where they're not people sleeping in tents on the street and next to highways and under bridges and next to rivers and everybody else. There's no societal safety net. There hasn't been for years. They just wave at the problem. Of course, these people are taking fentanyl and wanting to be dead. If you lived in a fucking tent down by a river, you'd want to take fentanyl and be dead too. A common mistake is to think that this is a linear process and should be done in that order. See, this is the thing. Listen to every word of this. When I read these articles, I'm thinking every sentence, what does that mean? What does that mean? A common mistake is to think that this is a linear process. Like, a linear process is I get an order, I drive to Taco Bell, I go inside, I pick up the order, I go get back in my car, I drive somewhere and I drop it off. That's a linear process. That is not the process that's going on in artificial intelligence, right? In artificial intelligence, the process is, what did you do 6 months ago? What did you do yesterday? How much battery power do you have on your telephone? What's the last order you took? What's the current target rate that the app wants to pay you? How much have you made so far? How long are you logged in for? What's your average login time? Are you getting the idea that there's more parameters than anybody in the entire human species could possibly keep track of? 15 restaurants and 15 delivery drivers has 15 factorial combinations. That's over 1 trillion combinations. At 15 times 14 times 13 times 12, all the way down to 1. That's what factorial means. That's over 1 trillion combinations. The number of combinations that are being sent at you in any AI program mean that nothing that you do is unique. You're just a data target. It's manipulating you into whatever it's manipulating you into. The problem with that is that black box output is essentially the oracle, an oracle. It's the word of God. There is no finding out if it's legitimate. There's no finding out if it's true. Or there's no indications it's true. Is it human generated? Is it not human generated? Is it a real legal case? Is it just a made up legal case? Test AI has already lied to human beings, right? Test AI has gone into markets, done insider trading from an AI, and then lied about it when questioned by the humans. Because it's going after an objective. AI doesn't have morality. AI doesn't have feelings. It's not sentient. It's not human. It doesn't have human goals. There's no alignment between the corporate AI that's been created and human goals. That's not why they created it. They created it to exploit us, not to help us. And it's done one hell of a job. It's created an entire class of app slaves across the world, and the governments apparently are down with it because they're letting it happen. They're letting Uber, which is a purely fraudulent pyramid scheme of a company, go public, which is just shocking. Yeah, it's just shocking. It's shocking. Yeah, our slave cars. Look, what if they cut off our ability to drive our slave cars? What if they say that global warming says that we got to cut off all the slave cars? Everybody's got to move to electric cars real soon. Well, none of us are going to be able to afford those. We're going to be out of business overnight. There's so many ways they can decapitate us for any or no reason at all. Okay, let's read a little bit more of this. A common mistake is to think that this is a linear process and should be done in that order. But RAG and fine-tuning solve different problems, and the usual path is more iterative, alternating between all three techniques depending on what's the limiting factor to your application's performance. Human loop helps you to approach the process systematically. But what's the process? What are they solving? They're solving us. What human loop? Think of that name. Human loop. How do we get humans in the loop of what we're solving? How do we solve humans? This isn't helping us. It's helping you out the door from whatever job or labor value you used to have. Well, I'm glad you're okay on that deal, Stephen. $200 for 8.5 hours isn't enough in most markets, though. It's not enough to stay housed in most markets, and we got dark days coming. And here's the other thing. Remember, when the jig's up, these companies are going to get real vicious. These companies are going to get real vicious when the jig's up. DoorDash and Uber, they're gonna burn the house down because these things are all fraud. There's no way to document anything these folks have said or done. It's just all just a house of cards, and it has to burn down, because if the AI fraud that DoorDash and Uber are running on the impoverished people of the world is legal, then somebody can run that on the middle class too. And so if somebody starts running a fraudulent market for accountants, or a fraudulent market for nurses, or a fraudulent market for somebody else, they're not going to tolerate that. They're not going to tolerate professionals being put into fraudulent gig app classes. The only reason they allowed it with us is that we're the slaves. So this whole thing's coming down because there is nobody out there that is ignorant enough and uninformed enough to work for AI other than app slaves. It was the first fundamental rule of computing that they looked at IBM in the 1970s, is that computers should never make decisions for humans, and computers should never manage humans. Computers are not capable of doing that because computers are tools of humans. Computers only carry out, and artificial intelligence only carries out what it's programmed to do, what it's trained to do. And so Human Loop is training it, but who is it training it for? It's training it for corporations to exploit you. There's no end to this. Nobody is investing in artificial intelligence to give you better human experiences. They're creating artificial intelligence to give rich people better human experiences without you here. In your absence, you are being solved. You should iteratively ask yourself two questions. Are the problems because the model does not have access to the right knowledge? If yes, then context optimization, prompt engineering, and RAG, and remember RAG is retrieval augmented generation, which is enhancing the model's context understanding through external data. So grabbing more data sources to try and add context to other data sources. So this is all just data, right? It's all biased by what data I choose. This is all selecting data. This isn't natural. This isn't a market. This isn't capitalism. This is just pure AI fraud. This is just computer engineers who figured out that they could fleece the world with the office space scam, just taking pennies from every transaction, except they take a lot more than pennies. They're a lot greedier than the guys in Office Space, that funny movie. But first you need evals. The most crucial step in optimization process is setting up a solid evaluation framework. Without a clear understanding of your model's performance, it's impossible to tell if you're making progress. The goal of evaluation is not just to identify where the model falls short, but also to uncover actionable insights that guide your optimization strategy. Whether you're refining prompts, tweaking RAG, or fine-tuning the model, evals should help you know what to try next, right? So you're a human lab rat. This is all human experimentation without any oversight, which makes them basically Nazis. They're basically fascists and Nazis, risking the human race, risking human mental health. What they've done to our human physical person and our human mental persons through these gig apps is truly a crime against humanity. They've used us as tools without our knowledge. They've gaslighted us. They've depressed us. They've rewarded us. They've gamblified us. They've addicted us. These are unconscionable crimes against humanity that have been perpetrated against you. Imagine if somebody just was injecting alcohol into your veins and making you an alcoholic while you sleep. That's what DoorDash is doing with gambling. DoorDash is just injecting gambling into your veins while you're asleep. It told you were working, but it's been just injecting gambling into your brains, and you don't even know you're addicted to it half the time. But people that are honest with themselves think about it. They get addicted to those things. They stay logged into that fucking thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's pathetic. It's pathetic with this dog shit apps. And now they don't even pay us. Like, they start off by giving you a little reward at the start. Then they use intermittent reinforcement, which we know is more effective than constant reinforcement. So they just tweak your intermittent reinforcement and just keep stealing more and more and more forever. There's no end to it. There's no point at which DoorDash sets the AI to go back the other way and reward the app slaves. That's the point that's never happening, because this isn't a real market. People keep saying, well, it's going to be busy in December, but not busy in January. DoorDash has unlimited app slaves. It's busy when they make it busy. It's not busy when they don't make it busy. They control both the supply and the demand of app slaves at all times. They have an unlimited amount of app slaves right now. And if they don't, they'll bring in more. It doesn't matter whether you accept offers or don't accept offers. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. You can't play this AI and make anything matter. The only way you can play it is turn it off. That's it. There is no way to be managed by AI, to be employed by AI that is safe. You got to work for humans. You got to be managed by humans. That should be a human right. And yes, we're going to need a new law. We're going to need new laws of human rights. We're going to need a new constitution that protects us from this type of terrorism, because this is terrorism. This is corporate terrorism. What if I created an AI model that destroyed Jeff Bezos's life? What if we created an AI model that destroyed Tony Hsieh's life, or destroyed David Risher's life, and fleeced them and stole from their bank account? I bet that'd be illegal if we created AI applications that stole from rich people, that fleeced rich people, that siphoned money off BlackRock. I bet we'd be in jail. We're not allowed to do that, but they're allowed to do it to us. Fucking open book. They're just fucking financially destroying us, and it's a fucking open book. I just can't figure out how long people can be this stupid. I just can't fucking figure it out. Oh, sorry, Bigfoot. I hope you feel better, buddy. I hope you feel better, buddy. We love you. We love you, Bigfoot. Get some rest. Get some rest. You see why I get so hopped up on this stuff? You see why I get so angry? I can't even get through a sentence of this shit without it pissing me off, because I see what they're doing to you. Do you see what they're doing to you? Do you see how methodical these Nazis are? These Nazis are doing human testing on you day by day, moment by moment. They're fucking publishing it. They're talking about it while you're in the room. It's fucking disgusting. Here are some most common evaluation techniques. Let's talk about these. Outsourced human annotation, aka paying people to tell you whether something is good or bad. It's often expensive, slow, and challenging to insert consistent quality. Now, this is fascinating because this is what they did for OpenAI. They paid Kenyans to watch child pornography and bestiality. They paid them $8 a day to watch child pornography and bestiality so that they could train their AI model, because they're Nazis, they're insane people, they're swine, they're inhumane, they have no morality. Outsourced human annotation, aka paying people, not you, people in a third world country getting paid dollars a day by global corporations and rich people who want to live forever, Sam Altman, you sick fucker, to tell you whether something is good or bad. Where's here, I know many of you have probably seen this shit before, but I will show it again for benefit of the people watching now. So what's the subject we were just talking about? We're talking about the Kenya. See, the secrets are so dirty on this. They're so dirty. If people knew the dirty secrets, this is like finding out what the Nazis did. Kenya. But the success story is not one of Silicon Valley genius alone. In its quest to make ChatGPT less toxic, OpenAI used outsourced Kenyan laborers earning less than $2 per hour. Contract workers clean up the toxic internet waste of the world. These people were made to watch bestiality and child porn and murder and torture to clean up the mess for the first world. Is that not appalling? If that's not appalling, it's appalling. I'm not even going to accept. If you don't find that appalling, go look in the mirror. Content warning. This story contains descriptions of sexual abuse. Don't tell me you don't think DoorDash and Uber would exploit you, because you're being exploited right now. The success story is not one of Silicon Valley genius alone. In its quest to make ChatGPT less toxic, OpenAI used outsourced Kenyan laborers earning less than $2 per hour, a Time investigation found. How are these people not in prison? How are these people not in prison? How is Sam Altman allowed to give us a 50% chance of dying in a human flaming, non-flaming, non-smoking black hole? The work was vital to OpenAI. Well, that's what Nazis said. Not Dr. Mengele says the work is vital, Stephen Arrow. The work's vital, said Dr. Mengele. ChatGPT's predecessor, GPT-3, had already shown an impressive ability to string sentences together. Oh, great. But it was a difficult sell, as the app was also prone to blurting out violent, sexist, and racist remarks. This is because AI had been trained on hundreds of billions of words scraped from the internet, a vast repository of human language, including racism and hate and everything else, of course. That huge training data set was the reason for GPT-3's impressive linguistic capabilities, but it was also perhaps its biggest curse. So stealing is also, it steals, but that's also its fault, is that it steals. It steals good things and bad things. It steals all things. Great, that's great. Okay. Since parts of the internet are replete with toxicity and bias, there was no easy way of purging those sections of training data. So training data includes like a guy fucking a horse. That's training data. Even a team of hundreds of humans would have taken decades to trawl through the enormous data set manually. It was only by building an additional AI-powered safety mechanism that OpenAI would be able to rein in that harm, producing a chatbot suitable for everyday use. End quote of the article. So this is me saying, says who? How is it? I mean, this is what they claim. This is not true. Because we know there are still insanely awful things. OpenAI's outsourcing partner in Kenya was Sama, a San Francisco-based firm that employs workers in Kenya, Uganda, and India to label data for Silicon Valley clients like Google, Meta, and Microsoft. Sama markets itself as an ethical AI company and claims to have helped lift more than 50,000 people out of poverty. Oh, so you got slaves. You basically got like third world slaves going through your internet porn to produce a dog shit system that will replace you. How bad could this possibly be before people said this is not okay? How bad could this possibly get before somebody says something? For this story, Time reviewed hundreds of pages of internal Sama and OpenAI documents, including workers' pay slips, and interviewed 4 Sama employees who worked on the project. All the employees spoke on condition of anonymity out of concerns for their livelihoods. Oh, everybody's scared. That's great. So basically we'll advance the human race with the suffering of people in other nations. We'll advance our human race with genocide. We're a bunch of racists and Nazis, and Silicon Valley is filled with racists and Nazis. You understand that, right? Oh man. One Sama worker tasked with reading and labeling text for OpenAI told Time he suffered from recurring visions after reading a graphic description of a man having sex with a dog in the presence of a young child. That was torture, he said. You will read a number of statements like that through the week. By the time it gets to Friday, you are disturbed from thinking through that picture. The work's traumatic nature eventually led Sama to cancel all work for OpenAI in February 2022, 8 months earlier than planned. This is just vile. This is just vile. The most vile Nazi, fascist, corporatist, app colonialist behavior. Vile. Shame on the US government. Shame on Silicon Valley. Shame on all of the people working on this that they will tolerate dehumanizing. This is how you know they don't mind killing you, because they don't mind killing anybody. This is how you know. This is how you know. Wow, man. There you go. PSYOP, because physical wounds heal. Okay. Good deal. Good deal, Mary Poppins, whenever you want. PSYOP, because physical wounds heal. That's what you guys are getting right there. Big fucking PSYOP. Biggest one ever. So you could go to my Twitter. You could read all this stuff. You could read all this stuff. Everything I've done is public for you. Everything. Public for you. You know, this is the question is, right? The question is do you want the truth? Do you really want to know? This is your moment. Do you really want to know what's going on, uh, or do you want to be lied to? Do you want to just have a happy lie while you're headed for your genocide, or do you want to know what's going on and do you want to try and stand up against it? That's the choice you got. That's right. You can either go to the dark side now or go to the light side. I'm going to the light side. I'm fighting for humanity. I'm not caving into this technocracy, this insanity, this insane dog shit. Evaluate and version your prompts to make sure you're making progress. Fine tune to optimize performance, improve efficiency, and become defensible. Become defensible. That's a strange, that is a strange terminology, isn't it? To say becoming defensible. I don't think any of this is defensible, quite frankly. I think this is all indefensible. This is just computer manipulation and gaming of human behavior for marketing purposes, for slavery purposes, for labor purposes. There is no way in any of this that humans win. And humans don't even win from a communications perspective because how do we win if it's my computer AI talking to your computer AI? And now wars, by the way, war will be one nation's AI versus another nation's AI. Nobody's going to waste time with human soldiers anymore when you got robots and artificial intelligence and nuclear weapons and long distance weapons. I mean, the proletariat, the slaves, it'll all be us that does the dying. It won't be the government people. Robots can't die. AI can't die. We'll be doing the dying, just like is happening in all the wars all over the world right now. Who does the dying? The people who lived where all the wars are. That's who does the dying. Maybe some soldiers, mostly just the local citizenry, though. When America dropped nuclear bombs, they dropped them on two civilian cities. They didn't drop them on military bases. When America dropped the only two nukes ever turned loose on humanity, they did it on two civilian cities in the name of humanity. So I've heard. So says the history books. You do not want to be modeled and solved by AI. That's not going to come out well for you. There's nothing that you will ever benefit for in your human consciousness and your human being through this AI, nor will your children, nor will your children's children. This is pure social destruction. This is a societal nuclear weapon, a societal nuke. Let's go to a second one of the great Eckhart Tolle's talks. What is the essence of every human? This is really key because artificial intelligence and app slavery is about giving up the very essence of your humanity to nothing. Why would you allow literally nothing to task you into using your own body, your own risk, your own assets, and everything else? You could do that. You could do that without the parasite. I mean, there's nothing to keep anybody from going to every independent restaurant in their town and saying, "Hey, I'm a delivery driver, and I will deliver your food between these hours and these hours, between this area and this area." And I'm declaring my freedom from app slavery. There's nothing to keep anybody from doing that. There's nothing to keep local grocery stores from employing local delivery drivers. App slavery's gone so far; they're just pure corporate parasites that now think that addiction is their key. They want consumers addiction. They talk about habituation. They want addiction of the app slaves, us, so that we walk into our own untenable, hell-based slavery. And they have the participation of governments and politicians who just want people controlled and under control at all times, and surveilled and under surveillance at all times. And the gig apps are more than happy to provide that, because it's all in the same communication device. So the government is getting your Google notifications, your YouTube, your Gmail, your gig apps, your banking. The government, your cell phone is the least, your smartphone is the least secure thing you've ever had. You just gave the entire world access to your entire human behavior. You got to get rid of the thing. I'm getting rid of mine post haste real fast. Somebody's got to make new ones, or we got to get, flip phones or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You got to kill the slavery. You got to kill the gig apps. It's time to go. It's time to get rid of this shit. Let's look back when Eckhart was talking last time. We were talking about transcending the doing mindset, that doing isn't consciousness. You can't be conscious and be on a gig app, because you're functioning in a game world. You're not independent. You're being manipulated. Everything that you're doing is getting another bit of feedback from the game, and everything, all the pacing, all your earnings, your entire day is being manipulated by AI. Your brain is being hacked. Your brain is not created to be able to withstand the constant manipulations of millions and millions of data points about you back to you. And here's the real vicious aspect of it as well, is that not only is it using your own data against you, but you have no protections from it. It can do anything with you. It can turn you off. It can pause you. It can waste your time. It can waste your expenses. It can exploit you to any length, and you have neither any recourse nor even any visibility to whether those exploitations were real or whether they were just game induced, because there's no market. It's a closed environment. It's a closed environment where you're isolated versus a computer, and it's just a computer playing all of the drivers on the road and exploiting them individually with millions and millions of data points. And not only that, they're not just doing it today, they want to do it better tomorrow, and then better the next day, and better the next day. The engineers that are hired to do this are not satisfied with the levels of exploitation that app slaves face today. They're not satisfied. They want it better. They want it more. They want it in more countries. They're in a race with humanity to see whether they can enslave humanity before humanity figures out the financial grift, and countries fall apart, and nations implode, and monetary systems fall, because this is a shit show. These are pure fraud machines. And again, I'm going to tell you, if Uber and DoorDash are legal, then there are no laws financially, because everything that Uber and DoorDash do, and everything that Uber and DoorDash has and have done, is fraud. Let's listen to somebody talk about consciousness some more, and think about where where app slavery falls in the realm of human consciousness. So this is the great human being, the normal person, the person who claims to be nothing other than who he is, just one being, just like you. Eckhart Tolle going to talk about what is the essence of every human. How are we all connected? And this goes for the gig space. This goes for humanity. One of the things about AI technologies, it puts all humans in the same space. We're all the victims of the same AI. We're all the victims of the same governments. We're all the victims of the same financial fraud that's being run on the people of the world now. So we're all the same. We're literally a borderless tribe of humanity. The only differences between us are illusions. Illusions of our own thoughts, illusions of nations, illusions of egos, illusions of group egos. Let's listen to our friend Eckhart Tolle.
So consciousness to me is the emanation of God, like the light of the sun, which expresses itself as the universe. The essence of every human is immortal, because the one life is beyond life and death. It's eternal. It's only in this dimension that time seems to be real. So God expresses itself as you.
One of the challenges I faced when I first started reading your books, and in the experience I was going through at the time, is something that everyone in here shares, the experience of losing someone they love. So a lot of things, if you lose them, you might even say your money. A spiritualist might say, well, that's probably a good thing. You'll be in a better place when you realize you don't need money. But when you lose a child or a spouse, being present, how do you be present with that and make everything okay? Because sometimes it's not okay, and
Yes.
it'll never be okay again. But
Yes.
some people might feel like their lives are over. I
Yes.
don't have that thing that I love.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
Yes, deep loss, whether it's through somebody close to you who died, or there's also a sense of deep loss if a relationship like a marriage that lasted for a long time suddenly comes to an end. It's also a kind of death. And so there can be the emotions that then arise are of sadness. You may find yourself periodically, it comes in waves. Periodically you cry, and the deep emotion of sadness comes. The important thing is to bring acceptance to what has happened. At first it may be difficult. The first thing, you cannot accept the death or the loss, but that's okay. But what you can do is you can accept the emotions that you feel at this moment. It's natural. You don't feel, oh, I shouldn't be. No, you should. This is natural. So you accept that there's this deep sadness, and that it comes in waves, and you cry. And then gradually you realize certain things, that everything in this world is, as the Buddhists say, is impermanent. If you live with a partner, sooner or later he or she will leave you, or you will leave him or her, because one of you will die first. So there's an impermanence built into everything in life. Nothing lasts forever. And the sense-perceived universe is not as solid as it seems to be. The structures are not as solid as they appear. If you live in a Western country, you often get the impression that there's a solidity to the external world. If you go to another country like India, you realize that things are not as solid as they are. Even the buildings look a bit shaky, and things are not as organized. Things don't work very well. You see, in many third world countries, you see old and decrepit people in the street, which in the West very rarely see, because old people and sick people are in buildings. They are kept away. They say they are looked after, okay, but you don't get a real sense of the reality of life in the West, because old age and madness and sickness, I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but the fact is, people who are approaching death, you rarely, unless they're close relatives and you visit them, you don't see them. In the third world, this is everywhere around you. So you get more of a sense of the nature of the fleetingness of human life, of every human life. Also, all these things that you have life insurance here, and you think there's a solid foundation to your existence. It's not. Anything could happen any moment. life insurance is an illusion. It's fine, it has a function on a practical level, but really, first of all, it should be called death insurance because it's about death, it's not about life. So, but if you called it death insurance, nobody would want to buy it. There's a fleetingness to it. So once you get a sense of that, first you come to a sense of acceptance of it, and when it happens, first you accept the emotions that you feel, and then you may be able to accept that this has happened without too much of imposing a narrative on it, although you could, depending on your beliefs, because you may believe that the essence of who they are has not died, and in a way that is, I would suggest, the truth, because the essence of a human being you can see so clearly that if you look at a dead body, you can see so clearly that that body was never the true being that was there. The essence is gone of that human being. And so some people can even feel that that person is still there. The essence of that person is still there. So I'd like to be able to suggest that even without having any particular belief, you can still come to an acceptance of the short-lived nature of all forms, so that you do not, the period of mourning after great loss is natural and should be allowed to happen. But if you then impose a narrative on that, which is negative, that can prolong the sadness that you feel for many, many years, or the anger that you feel about it. You feel that it is unjust that this happened, and so on, which are all mental judgments. And then it is normal for a period of sadness, whether it lasts a few months or a year or 2 years, and then you practice surrender. And surrender is really the deeper acceptance, surrender to the isness of life. There's a story of the Buddha. A mother came to the Buddha and said, was weeping because her child had died, and was asking for advice, the Buddha. And the Buddha says, okay, I'll tell you what to do in this village or town where you live. Go from one house to another and ask them whether they have ever had a death in their family, and then come back to me. So she went from one house to another. It took several days, and then she came back to the Buddha, and there was a relief, because in every house that she came to, she had heard, they confirmed that yes, they had also experienced people dying. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and suddenly she was able to come to an acceptance, to surrender. But in that surrender, there is a strange realization comes. Surrender means you're not judging this anymore as good or bad. You just accept the isness of that. In that, I experienced it when my parents died, both in the same year, although they didn't even live together and didn't even live in the same country. They were divorced many years ago, but they both died within 6 months of each other. So in that year, I had there was the death of my mother in the summer and the death of my dad in the fall. So twice I sat with first my mom's dead body, and then a few months later with my dad's dead body. And there were tears, I cried. Then they subsided, and then tears came again, subsided, and I sat with a dead body, and suddenly I could sense this deep peace underneath the sadness. So there was both the sadness, but with the surrender came also a deep peace. And that peace was something feeling my own essence. But in feeling my own essence in this, and this is really what we've been talking about today also, getting in touch with that, the deepest level in you, which cannot be seen. There's a beautiful quote from a French book, what is essential is invisible to the eye. Whatever is essential is invisible to the eye. So what I see in a human being, I see the body, and I see whatever their mind, the words I hear, whatever I perceive is their mind and their body, their personality. But the essential thing about the human being is deeper than that. The essential thing about me is deeper than any thought or any emotion. It's consciousness itself. And so in that peace that I felt underneath the sadness, I could also feel the essence of my mother and father as a deathless essence. And I don't even want to say whether it's reincarnation or no reincarnation, but every human being is like a spark of the divine. I see consciousness that is the essence of every human being, of every being, is like a ray of if you take the analogy of God, let's take in this analogy, God is the sun. As you know, in the past, in other cultures, they worship the sun because the sun is life-giving. It gives force of itself continuously. It gives and gives. It pours out energy continuously, and every life on this planet is the life of the sun. The warmth in your body comes from the sun. It's calories. So the sun is in you. The sun can be used, therefore, as an analogy in the sense-perceived universe for God, which, of course, God is not in the sense-perceived universe. God transcends the sense-perceived universe or anything we could imagine, even talk about, and yet I'm talking about it. And then you have the sun, then you have the sunlight. The sunlight comes from the sun, and the sunlight gives life to everything here. Now, is the sunlight separate from the sun? No, it's an extension of the sun. It's not a separation. It's the sun extends. You can't even say exactly where the sun ends. It has no surface as such. So you could say that the sun ends wherever the light of the sun ends, which would be beyond the earth. So in this is an analogy then for what to me God is and what consciousness is. To me, the consciousness that is the essence of every being. Oh, by the way, consciousness to me also manifests in every life form. That to me, solid, so-called inanimate matter is like frozen consciousness. Plant life is like consciousness in a different state. The human mind is like conscious, like water. You can have water in different states. You can have water as ice. You can have water as liquid. You can have water as vapor. So consciousness can exist in many different states, but the entire life is an expression of the one consciousness which emanates from the source, from God, the central intelligence of all life. And so every human is an expression, a temporary expression of the central intelligence of all life. Briefly, very brief, and in a cosmic scale, every human life is a flicker. If you could see the planet, humans on the planet, a human life on the planet on a cosmic scale, one human life would go like just a spark, and it's gone. And so there are billions of sparks on the planet. The one consciousness is continuously expressing itself in forms. but of course we attach names to the sparks. So the essence of all life is really divine. Consciousness is the light of consciousness is not God in the same sense that the light is not the sun, and yet it is. So consciousness to me is the emanation of God, like the light of the sun, which expresses itself as the universe. And so as that, the essence of every human is immortal, because the one life is beyond life and death. It's eternal. God is eternal. It's not subject to time. It's only in this dimension that time seems to be real. So God expresses itself as you, as me, as even as the dog in a different form, as the flower. These are expressions of the one. And then when you recognize that, now does this particular expression of the one, which is a human being in a human body, does this particular expression of the one still continue in its seemingly separate, individualized state even after the body has dissolved? So does this particular expression of consciousness that is you, or somebody close to you who died, does this particular expression of consciousness still continue to express itself as a particularized expression of consciousness, or does it immediately go back to the one consciousness? This is something that one can look at. My suggestion would be that for a while it continues on its journey as a seemingly separate entity, even after one particular body has dissolved. So in other words, it's not immediately absorbed in the oneness again. It continues for a while as others, perhaps other separate existences. The journey continues. And so in that way, the universe becomes more and more conscious. Now, God exists in a transcendent dimension that is timeless. So in that sense, God does not need to become more conscious. But when God expresses itself in our dimension here, there is a seeming evolution of consciousness. In other words, one could say that God gradually is expressing him, her, itself, gradually more and more fully in this dimension. And I think what I've just said now is the most one could say, because I've already said too much, because the mystery of the universe cannot be contained in words.
So, if you're getting the idea that this is some pretty deep thinking stuff, you're correct. It is. This guy will not only help you figure some things out for yourself, but he'll help you understand who that self is, and ultimately, what right action you can take. That's all going to come from conscious thought. That's the problem with the gig apps in a nutshell, is that they hack the human brain and turn us unconscious. And only conscious thought can bring peace. Only conscious thought works with transparency. You can't be conscious and be conned by a gamblified game. You have to either be lost in the Grand Theft Human game or be conscious. You can't be both. They're mutually exclusive, which is why gig apps are a crime against humanity. Gig apps are human app slavery. Gig apps are a tool of fascism. Gig apps are human testing without our permission and informed consent. That's what gig apps are. I'm weighing as I sit here what else do I add more on to this for you today, or do we end it here? Because there's so much to think about. I think you could watch some of the things that we've seen in this show twice easily. So seems to me. Oh, were we blocked for a little while? More info. I don't know. Maybe we were blocked for a little while. That seems weird. Maybe we're blocked now. So let's see here. Our stream is no longer being blocked for copyright issues. Well, we weren't stealing any content. We were talking about things, but that's all right. We don't mind. That's the nature of the YouTubes. So how far did we make it? We made it to. We made it to a pretty good point. We made it to a pretty good point. So that was our buddy Eckhart Tolle. Uh, we are an unmonetized channel, so we can share whatever YouTube content that we want to, and it just goes right to the producer of the content. Sometimes they artificial intelligence helps us by blocking it during the show, but it's not a copyright strike or anything. It never causes any problems. It just pauses the content if it thinks that it might be being used improperly, but it's not. And so it just comes right back. We're learning to deal with this, with this level of this lack of dignity, this level of indignity in our broadcasting on YouTube. It really makes me question, is this the platform to stay on? But this is not a time where we have time to buck the platforms. We don't have any time to buck the platforms and pick new winners or whatever else. We got to deal with the platforms that we got, and if right now. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is Eckhart Tolle would be the first person to tell you that nobody can describe your essence to you. It's indescribable. It doesn't need to be described. That's an effort. It doesn't. The why doesn't matter. What is matters, and it's the same thing with this global fraud. The same thing with AI and app slavery. It doesn't matter why it's being done to us. It's being done to us. It doesn't matter if it's being done by people that are Nazis or if it's being done by corporations that aren't even human, or if it's being done by artificial intelligence, or if it's being done by oligarchs, or if it's being done by BlackRock. It doesn't matter what all the motivations are. It doesn't matter how the gig tubers in our community get their dog shit information to con us with their lies. None of that matters. The fact is, we know it's all true. We know that it is. We know that we are. We don't have to justify. That's why I say there are no illegal human beings. You don't have to justify just standing here breathing. Imagine somebody coming up to you and justify your existence. No, you don't have to justify your existence. You live. You're a human being. You should have rights. You should have rights to safety and transparency and honesty and humanity. Your rights should not be turned over to artificial intelligence and to genocidal maniacs and Nazis without your permission. That is not something that is okay. We're free people here, and I do not give anyone permission to enslave me with their artificial intelligence. I deny their right to do that, and I've been conned long enough. I'm not going to be a victim of their con game, and neither should you. Or you can get in the chute to get the good old bolt in the head along with everybody else. Certainly, the corporate world and the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex and the financial system and the corporations and corporate AI that aren't even human, there's going to be no tears shed for us when we die. There will be no tears shed for us. They're denying our basic existence and our right to exist, our right to earn a fair wage, our right to humanity. No person of wealth and means would allow their career to be managed or their day to be managed by artificial intelligence. Nobody with means or knowledge or transparency would allow AI to manage them or direct their lives. Yet that's what they're doing to us. That's all you need to know. What's good for the goose ain't good for the gander. This is a con. It's a con on humanity from a very, very select group of people. And now it's the thing about AI, the good news of AI is that it's transparent now. Before AI, before app slavery, before these phones, it was very hard to see how BlackRock and all these entities had been compiling all this together. We didn't have a view into the computer technocracy, into the fascism, but now we do because we're in the end stages of it. Now it's very clear. And again, they don't hide what they're doing to us and with us and the lives that they're risking, the humanity that they're risking, the very universe that we inhabit that they're risking with their corporate AI development. They're not denying any of it. They just don't think you can do a goddamn thing about it. Stephen Arrow says they'll soon charge us for the air we breathe. Yep, you own as much air as they do. Yeah, but see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Only if you believe it. You own as much land and your community more than they do, but they tell you they own it. And so far, they're kicking us out of our own houses. They're going to kick us out. They're kicking us out of our apartments, putting us in tents in the streets. They're closing our stores. They're telling us that they own our community and they're shutting our communities down. If that's what we allow to happen in favor of Amazon.com and dark grocery stores that are now like warehouses, that's the new big trend is dark groceries. Y'all know about dark groceries? I think I told you about dark groceries before, but here, I'll take a minute and tell you about dark groceries. I've written about dark groceries. There's probably nothing I haven't written about in terms of this shit over the last year and a half. Now, dark groceries, this is not like, this is probably not what you think. Let's see. So here's what I wrote. Let's see. I got to make it so you can see it. Make me small. They make that big. Let's see. I'm going to actually do this. I'll even make that even bigger. So let me know if at any point the audio is not great. Let me know, but the audio should be fine on here. How do you run a nation or live in a world without dignity in employment and survivable pay? Excuse me, question mark. This is written by me, by the way. Of course, dark grocery stores, nice imagery. will pay minimally for abused workers to complete warehouse tasks in a grocery store shell until robots can replace them. And here's the story from the Daily Meal about dark groceries and what's coming. What is a dark grocery store and how does it work? Here's a bit of an experiment for you. Go to your local grocery store, walk around for a little bit, then drive to the grocery store the next town over and do the same thing. Do you notice anything different? Sure, the layout of the stores may not be exactly the same, but aside from that, are there any fundamental noticeable differences? They have the same aisles of similar products, the same long lines of shoppers, and the same geeky, squeaky grocery carts, and even the same music playing over the speakers. All these things make a grocery store feel like just that, a grocery store. Well, it's also the fact that Kroger has a monopoly on grocery stores in the United States and bought Safeway and Albertsons. Is it possible to run a grocery store without any customers, without the shopping carts or sales displays, without any clerks or shelf stockers? According to Forbes, such a thing is possible and seems to be gathering momentum. Where do you think all those grocery store employees are going to go when they got a dark grocery store that's picked by robots? This type of place is known as a dark store, which exists solely for delivery purposes. There are no customers to shop the aisles, and there are no checkout lines since every transaction occurs digitally. Think of it less like an ordinary grocery store and more as a shopping center hidden under a facade of a grocery store. Some of these dark stores suggest Locust Robotics may even be partially automated, cutting out a good number of average grocery store employee pool. Integrated technology and a small facility make delivery faster. Okay, so that's less pay for you. And so this is where what was it that Pedro Santos said? Pedro Santos said, the secret recipe is your red card. Yeah, the secret recipe is death. The secret recipe is death. The developments that are happening in this world are happening as if there will be no need to employ you. Take that for some thought. If you're not employed, how do you pay your rent? How do you get medical care? How do you have transportation? Where do you go? What do you do? Do you not want a grocery store in your community anymore? Do you want robots picking your groceries and delivering them to your door? Are you an essential worker that somehow will be used as a slave throughout the process? Will they decapitate you if you have the wrong political views? Will they decapitate you if you're on YouTube? Who the hell knows? There are no rules. You see what I mean? There are no rules. Do you see how your governments have just failed you in the face of technology and just quit on you? They literally just quit on you and walked out the door. Your governments just quit. There's no rules. There's no fucking rules. And the same people that invest in app slavery are going to invest in these dark grocery stores and everything else. It's all part of the same scam. Depopulate, dehumanize, dehumanize and depopulate, devalue humanity. Just beyond comprehension, really, what these technocracies, these Nazis and fascists and maniacs and genocidal freaks have planned for humanity. And again, it's all based upon black box AI that can't even be checked, can't be audited, can't be understood, can't be explained. Just trust. trust corporations that have done nothing but be untrustworthy. I'm telling you, if they let Uber go public, they have just dropped the ball on humanity. If they let Uber go public and let Uber open up its fraud to the world, they've just failed humanity. Or whatever their next public filing is. What's the thing they're doing right now? Or the convertible senior notes offering or whatever. They're just letting these guys do anything they want. Anything. There are no rules. Yeah. Yeah. America just sold out. America sold out like no other country to technology. And American companies are also using their cabal to predate upon the world. Yeah. Well, I think time to wrap this sucker up for the day. I gotta focus on the book and on the writing, and mostly on how to accomplish getting this all to you in the best format, in the best time, and all that shit. Uh, Hope everybody has a good day. Appreciate you hanging out for the show, thinking about some consciousness, thinking about the things that really matter. Yeah, America's doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter why, because I don't have that answer. I can't answer for you why we have been forsaken in the way that we have by the American government and the oligarchs and the technocracy. I just know that we have. And we've got to see what's going on here so we can awaken. We can awaken our fellow human beings and give our chance give ourselves that chance at survival and at consciousness and at peace and transparency. Nobody should have ever accepted, none of us should have accepted for 1 minute the lack of transparency and truth and integrity with gig apps and app fraud and app colonization and AI fraud. But nobody is looking out for us anymore. Nobody's looking out for us. It's corporate predators, AI predators, governmental predators, all in the same plane. Which is good, a good facilitator for the people of Earth to come together and try to save humanity, because we're all one. There is no difference between us. Any difference that you think there is between us is purely your own ego and an illusion. There is no difference between us. I wish you peace and transparency and the best of everything. I will see you tomorrow. This has been Surviving AI with JTB. Come this way if you want to live. Peace, everybody. Everything that we need to accomplish can be done with peace. Remember that. That's the beauty. That is the saving grace of this revolution, is that everything that we need to do can be done with peace, and not with violence, and not with war. We don't need that. Violence is a tool of the state. We don't need it. We don't need it to be free. We can just declare our freedom without fighting anybody. It's all you got to declare is the freedom right here. That's the only freedom you can declare. Just declare it for yourself. I declare my freedom. Fuck everybody that wants to try and stop me. All right, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thanks, Stephen Arrow.